masseuse is listening to, so give her a splooge. Gregg and Joe and Gregg Joe and Gregg and Joe. I can't come up with any lyrics, so just start the fucking show, bro. And let's hope our two guineas aren't a no-show. So now let's go.
What's up, everybody? How are you today? Mike and the Mad Dog right here on the fan.
Mike and the Mad Dog. Holy shit. Doesn't Mike Francesa look like fucking, what's her name, Rosie O'Donnell?
Yes.
And he even talks like you're a little bit through the teeth sometimes, you know.
Oh,
That
dude.
Mike. You remember when remember when Russo's father used to call
Yes,
up?
Tony. He
Tony
was
Russo.
great. I loved him. I loved
he
when
was.
and Mike was cool with him too. See, that's when they were, that was magic, that fucking show.
Oh, that was great. I think together they were phenomenal, but he by himself, he was
Mike?
Mike, yeah, a little bit too.
Russo was good by himself because he interacts with the guy, with Steve Torrey, who does the updates. Mike is like a fucking dick. He treats the interns like fucking jerk offs.
He's got to be a liberal. But you know what's funny too? When they used to work before they started their thing, they started working with WFAN, and what's his name was on there? WFAN, WNBC.
WN.
Remember what the hell is it?
Howard Stern.
No, not Howard Stern.
Imus.
Yeah, Imus in the morning. Jesus, because I kept thinking Howard Stern too. And you know what the funny thing is that when they were working with him, with Imus, they would do like the updates and stuff. And I remember one time Imus said to Mike Francesa, he said, "Bro, you look just like David Berkowitz," because he was real fat and he had a beard and shit. He goes, "You look like David Berkowitz." And then he told Chris Russo one time, "Dude, your breath stinks." He said, "You have like a really spicy breath." It was because Don Imus didn't hold back, and it was funny.
No. He was hysterical. Don Imus was a legend in New York radio. It was funny though, because when WFAN first started on 1050, if you remember, in 87, right?
I used to listen to them.
Right? I did too, right? We used to listen to them in a fucking radio car. We only had AM radios. Then when they moved it to 66, that's, I think, when Imus was the only guy from that original station to stay there, because we used to be NBC when Howard was on it in the 80s. So Imus stayed on the FAN and did his morning show. It really wasn't sports, but it was kind of like, he was the face of that channel.
Now, he was. But you know what I hated? I hated when he caved in with that nappy head hose shit.
Well, speaking of, there's Hoogada Claus right there. I'm sorry I said that. I'm embarrassed that I said that. When you had fucking Reverend Al over there. But we had
oh God.
What's up from Laredo, Texas?
What's
up,
on, guys?
Ironhead Hooligan? How you doing?
Ironhead,
Of course, Hoogada Claus. Richard Hallowell, great show. Greg, please don't talk about bodybuilding shows.
I promise you. I don't want to.
Buckeye Barbell Classic. Yes.
Buckeye Barbell Classic. You like when I say that?
Oh, I love it. But I'm actually going to Greg gave me a great idea, not even realizing he gave me a great idea. Right before we went live, I'm doing a little video from my phone facing the screen so I can do a little short. So show people like how this works, how I could change the I got the my Goombas skin showcase. So that's how we changed the so people, when you're watching YouTube live and you see the comments, like how do those comments get on there? Because I would think the same thing before I bought this program you told me about. So that's a little behind the scenes. From behind the scenes.
From behind the scenes.
Yes.
Behind the scenes.
And behind the scenes. And now if I flip this, can I do that while I'm doing it? No, I'll just do with this. Here's me and my fucking camera, my background here. So that's a little behind the scenes of the Gregg and Joe Show. Wednesdays, 3 p.m. on YouTube Live, MuscleSport TV. So Greg, how are you today, my friend?
I'm doing good, Joseph. I'm doing good. Did you see that thing? A little news thing. I can't understand how these people talk about that Louis Mangione and like they let him go and like he fucking killed
Love
an
him.
innocent guy. And now you got a guy now that just tried to impersonate him who who went into a Walgreens drugstore and shot the friggin' pharmacist because he trying to protest big pharma. So this is a new thing now. You guys, you don't like something, so you're gonna just go kill the person. You know what I'm saying? Who did nothing to you, and I get this guy's like a fat slob,
Yeah.
So nobody's good, just because Louis
They're not, the
Mangione,
girls aren't. Yeah.
right? The girls aren't going to be into this one. He thought he was doing he thinks he's another Louis Mangione. He told the cops, "Hey, yeah, well, I'm pissed off at Big Pharma," so he go and shoot. This country's fucked with that shit. You know
Listen,
what I mean?
I don't give a fuck that this kid's Italian. He's a savage. What he
Yeah,
did.
forget
You
about
shoot
that.
somebody in the back, you got fucking balls like fucking rice, man. You got fucking go face to face with the guy. Fucking square off with him. Be a fucking man. And even in that, the guy's a fucking guy with a suit and tie on. He's not running.
He shot a guy in the back. You
Shot him in
fucking
the back.
coward.
Oh God.
Dude, enough of that, Joe. I'm gonna tell you something. Fucking COVID was a bullshit. I'm not saying it didn't exist, but what I'm saying is all that mask shit. They should make that shit illegal. You shouldn't be able to walk down the street with a mask on because that's what all these little savages are doing. That's what fucking Louis Mangione did. The coward wore the mask and all that other shit. Thought he was going to get away with it. Shot a guy in the back. You know what I mean? Who had nothing to do with him. A family man.
I don't even think he had that insurance company that the guy was a big wig in.
No,
he was just at a meeting where there was heads of these pharmaceuticals. Thank you, Hoog. He invited Jimmy to Bull, and then please give him. People are giving him thousands of dollars. Richard Howell.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Of course, son of Sammy Day. Oh, there's my boy right there. There's Nick. What's up, Nick? Wearing a mask in 2025 means that you're either a criminal or mentally ill. There are still people that wear masks for COVID purposes.
I see them in the grocery store
all the time.
As soon as I see them, I'm like fucking liberal right there. You know what I mean?
I know who you voted for.
How
How many cats you got at home, man? It's one of those things.
I hate cats.
Psychos.
They should make the mask illegal. Get every time a savage decides to like take a hammer, break into like somebody's fucking jewelry store, or break into stuff. You got all these savages wearing masks and shit. Even when they're mugging people in New York City, they're all wearing masks. Why? They empowered these people. They
cover their faces with those Kifa cloths now. The pro Hamas,
what's funny,
Palestinian kids.
What's funny? It's funny because what we're talking about with the Louis Mangione thing, it's like when you see a teacher that molests a kid, right? Or somebody when you see it's a hot fucking woman teacher and she's with like a 15-year-old boy, you're like, that's okay. You know what I mean? But if it was a guy, and you're like, fuck that.
Kill him.
That's savage. You know what I mean?
Right now, me and you, we have one of each. Children, one boy, one girl.
Boy and a
right?
girl, yes.
Now, and they're all adults.
They're all adults, right? They're grown up.
Respective each, right? But when they were young, and if you found out, we'll use that 15 as an age, right?
Yeah.
If you found out that your daughter was touched by the 15-year-old male teacher, you'd kill the fucking guy.
You want to kill him, yes.
I don't even have to ask.
Absolutely.
I know you would be the same as me.
Absolutely.
Even a woman doing it, I would fucking kill her, right?
Unless she was really good looking, then I'd say to my son, dude, way to go. Dude, did she?
No, but I mean, if your son, now obviously you can't say, hey, good job. But if your son got, touched by a older teacher, it doesn't seem as bad. And that's just society. That's not me. That's, the way things are.
It's always been that way. You know what I'm saying? It's always, there's other things I could say on here, but I'm not going to say it. I'll say it to you later.
No,
but you know what I'm talking about.
But it doesn't seem as bad. It doesn't seem like, it almost seems like she's such a fucking hooer.
Yes.
That she'll take cock even from a fucking kid. And she probably got off because it was his first time for the most part. I mean, I was 16 when I first dropped the load. So I would have been my first time if a 15-year-old little fucking grease ball,
Me too. I grew up in an era where, first base you made out, second base you got some tit, third base you fucking fingered her, yeah. Yeah, so girl, and when I was in high school in the 70s, I was out of high school in the 70s. I was supposed to graduate 78, but I graduated 79. But the thing is, back then you had a few girls in a whole school that gave a blowjob or fucked. You know, back
Oh
then
yeah,
they didn't do
yeah.
that shit.
It,
They didn't
it
do
was
that.
it was real hard to get anywhere with fucking
Yes.
broads. I mean, you get maybe you jerked off by them, couple of them sucked
Yes,
cock,
right.
you know, and it was
Usually it
just
was
a
the fat
handful
ones.
you could fuck. Yeah, the fat ones.
Usually
Yeah.
the fat ones put out. Yeah, I mean, there was girls in high school I knew, like the fat ones, and all the guys would try to, just because they didn't care, they just wanted to get their fucking brajol fucking, sucked on. But
Yeah. Masks don't prevent completely, they protect some degree. Yeah, it's a joke. And
No,
here's
dude.
Keith. What's up, Keith? Yes, this teacher, what they were doing a gangbang. She was wearing a scream mask, and she wasn't
Okay.
bad looking from what I saw.
Which
You know what
teachers?
I'm saying?
I just brought up any old thing about I don't know how the hell I got on that, but it's. I didn't see no teacher with a gangbang. But you know what? If my son was banging a hot teacher and she was young, you always find out these teachers are like they're in their 20s and they're good looking and shit. I'd be like, yo, is she into a dad and son plowing her?
A little three-way.
Yeah,
I'll tell
fam-
you a quick. I'll tell you
family
a quick
affair.
story. When I was a detective, sex crimes special victims was the real name of it, right? We call
Right.
the sex crimes the old name. It was right next door to us, and there was a fucking teacher that fucked a 15-year-old kid. Let me tell you, every fucking detective was lined up in that fucking hallway looking in the fucking room. She was fucking a 10. She was a
Yeah.
short blonde, tight jeans. You know when girls wear the work boots in the winter, it's kind of like sexy looking. They look
Yeah,
kind of a
man.
little rough, like, and she had like, fucking blue jeans on. And
Oh, yeah.
she was she could have a care in the world. She was eating it up that we were all at the fucking window checking her out. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, all of us were like, if I was 15, I'd be eating her ass.
You guys
And
were probably
stupid. You open your mouth. That's why they get in trouble. The kids are stupid. They brag, and then it's all over.
That's
And
right.
once
And
the
you
parents find out,
You
done.
ruined it for yourself. You get nice blowjob. But the thing is,
Yes.
though, you guys were probably jumping over hoops to get to. Do you need any water? Are you okay? Do you want
Oh,
something?
yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you got an older male school teacher in the next room that did something shit with your kids. You're like,
Oh.
motherfucker, I should fucking kick your fucking ass, you motherfucker. You're lucky. Right then, you go into the girl. Can I get you something?
Hey, listen, that's human nature.
Of course it is.
It's
Of
fucking
course.
human nature.
Richard's
Richard's got a funny one. Greg, bus driver and stripper prom. You guys
Yes.
that know Greg's background,
Yes.
those things of the
I would love to find that. I would love to find that girl I took to my senior prom, the stripper. I would love to find her. Her name was Lauren.
How old was she? I know how old you were. How old was the broad?
We were both 18 years old. She had I think she had just turned 18, or she might have been 17.
Oh, she was young.
Yeah, there was she. No, she was young. Yup. First of all, I was, I mean, I'll tell you, there was another one that was there. There were a few underage that, they would lie. Remember back then,
no
if
ID.
you showed your driver's license,
No
there was
photo.
picture. Right. It was
No, the
photo.
little blue driver's license.
Right.
Yeah.
And people, you could erase your date, birthday,
Yeah.
and just pencil it in, and bouncers would look at, okay, come in. You know what
Good
I mean?
enough. Yeah.
So, there were girls up there, Joe. There was a few. One was 15 years old. You know what I'm saying? And nobody knew. You know what I mean? Nobody knew. She was back then they were topless dancers.
Yeah.
The name of the bar I worked at was called the Lake Lounge. It was in Mayapack, New York. And then it became Teasers. And the girl's name is Lauren Booth, and she's from Wilbraham, which is the Springfield area of Massachusetts. I actually, I think I might have her old phone number and shit and everything. But the thing is, you're talking 1979. So, who the hell still, I don't even know if she's still alive. If I'm going to be 65 and she's got to be, she's around 64.
You're older then.
Yeah.
This
I
one's
was
funny.
older than her, but not a lot.
Hooga the Claus. I lost my virginity on a dirty mattress we found outside and brought into an apartment building, both drunk. That is fucking
There you
hysterical.
go.
How many fucking the crabs and everything was on that fucking mattress? But when you're drunk and horny as a youngster, man, you'll fuck on the, you'll fuck wherever you can in a broom closet. Nick Scott, I lost my virginity 4 months before my 16th birthday. Bravo, my friend.
There
I
you
was at a
go.
hotel for a baseball tournament. The girl was 27. Oh, you're a champ. I lied to her and told her I was turning 18 in a month. I made out okay. Wow, that's
Joe, you know
fucking-
what's Joe,
that's
let me tell you
awesome.
something. You know what's crazy? My best friend, the kid that died, I bled all over his face and shit. That one, Joey, right? Do you know that we went to the senior prom together? I have pictures, Joe. I'll show you the pictures of the stripper, and he brought a school bus driver. She was in her 20s. But can you imagine what that would do today? He didn't fuck her, but he went up. We went and got one of the girl at the time was like my girlfriend. We got one of her friends who was also a stripper, so he was banging a stripper. Well, we went to a hotel. Dude, I think I told you a story. I actually had this thing, like I was trying to come when she was giving me a blowjob, right? And I couldn't do it. And I kept saying I was really hungry, and I kept thinking of McDonald's, and I kept saying to myself, I'm not going to think about McDonald's. I'm not going to think about McDonald's. The more you do that, the more you think about it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, fuck that shit. Don't stop thinking about that. Okay, you're not going to think about it. Just get to. And I couldn't come. She was getting like really fucking frustrated. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I keep thinking of McDonald's. And she's like, what? But I mean, like, I couldn't stop thinking it, like, because I was hungry. But I was like, okay, I wanted to, because I was going to go to McDonald's afterwards. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not going to think about that. I'm just going to get into the blowjob. Don't think about McDonald's. Stop thinking about it. Okay. Stop thinking about McDonald's. What the fuck? And I kept thinking about McDonald's, so it was fucked up. I couldn't come. The first time she gave me the blowjob, could not come. I usually can't come getting BJ's. I'm a fucker. But
it's not easy. I mean, it has to be done. It has to be done a certain way, and everybody has certain styles, if you will, that they enjoy better. Yes. They found the mattress. That is, and you dragged it in this fucking building. That is a classic. I lost my virginity I lost it in the baseball field dugout.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was 16, and I will admit, because the statute of limitations is over, she was only 14 at the time.
There you go. Well, you were both
robbing the cradle.
You were both underage.
We were both underage. She was actually an immigrant from the United Kingdom. She actually had a little English accent, and she was pretty kind of cute. Yeah, it was actually it was
nice.
But it was funny though, because my friend is fucking he's shooting fireworks off. It was around the 4th of July, and it was nighttime. So I'm in the fucking dugout. I'm fucking banging her. And he goes on the baseball field, and he's got like Roman candles. And so she's like, oh shit, somebody's going to see us. So now I recognize him. He's my friend Gregg's brother. Gregg, unfortunately, was one of the people who died in the Trade Center too.
Oh,
so I forget his name. I go, not his name, his brother was Gregg, but let's just say, hey, fucking Sal. I'm like, dude, can you do that somewhere else? Oh shit, I didn't even see he's there. Oh, sorry to bother you. And then he took the Roman candle elsewhere. Yeah, but it was kind of fucking funny. In the dugout, like at Fast Times with fucking the stereo salesman, Ron something, when he fucks Jennifer Jason Leigh in that movie.
Dude,
in the
Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Fucking Phoebe Cates, my girl.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up out of that pool, and the guy's jerking off to Judd. But
I always thought you were cute, Bradley.
Yeah, Bradley. I said, does
anyone fucking knock anymore?
Yeah, she comes up out of that water. Oh my God.
Oh, man,
that was my girl. That was my fucking Spakim girl when I was young. You know what I mean? Yeah. I loved her. Oh my God. That was my bitch. And she's married to an ugly motherfucker. You know what I mean? What's his name there? The fucking that actor oh my God, Kevin Kline.
Oh, okay. Really? They're married?
Yeah, that's her wife. Yeah. You know what's funny? She has a boutique, I think, she has like a clothes boutique in like Soho in New York City.
Really?
Yeah, down by the Village and all that shit.
Does she still look good though? I mean, she was fucking.
Yeah, she looks all right, but she cut her hair short and shit. She's probably liberal because the whole bit.
Yeah, they're all like that. If I get so if you control, then you can finish. Yeah, I guess I would be the same. I would have to be a little in control of it. Like first time I was lucky was the night of the O.J. Simpson case, Richard Hallowell. Now, was it the night of the verdict, or was it just the night of like one of the first night? Stop talking about McDonald's. I'm trying to come over here.
That's exactly what happened with me. And I wasn't able to come. Richard, I hope you didn't slash your throat after you're done.
O.J. Simpson chase. Ah, okay. Gotcha. No need to go any further. I gotcha. And I
You get
was
it? I hope you
watching the
didn't
fucking
slash your throat.
Knicks, and they
Oh,
put
God.
the fucking little split screen, and they're over there showing the fucking stupid Bronco chase at 20 miles an hour on the fucking freeway.
I remember
and I
that
want to
very
watch
well.
the ball game. Knicks and the fucking Rockets. NBA Finals. Imagine taking a Roman candle ball to the ass. That would not be good.
That would not.
I think he was just facing them up from like the pitcher's mound, but it was still close enough where, I mean, I didn't give a fuck, but the girl was like,
Right. And you
did
got
you
to
ever bang a pair of jugs or what? I have, but I got to remember. I don't remember if I ever.
I have too, but
finished
it
off.
wasn't. It wasn't.
It's foreplay kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It's like,
I'm not into big. The only way I like big tits is if they're on if they got to be fake. I don't like sloppy that,
really, I like
Yeah, I don't
natural
think-
ones. I don't like big fake ones when they're like.
I don't
It's
like
thick.
really big,
Come
unless it's on I like skinny girls, really skinny. So
Yeah.
anorexic is what I like. But if they got big, if they got big tits, it's usually fake tits. So then it goes.
Yeah.
But I don't like big asses and stuff. No way.
Yeah, it's a little shape is okay, but not too big. The style now, these girls are getting injections in their ass.
Oh man,
It's-
that's
it's
horrible.
stupid. I see the
Plus,
girls at the gym. They look. This looks weird.
Joe,
Listen.
plus when we were younger, all the girls in school were thin. I mean, if it's some of the girls today that are,
Yeah.
like if I look back at the ones I thought were fat in high school, they would be just considered a little beefy, a little chubby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like by that standards, they were fat. Today they'd be considered like, oh, that's body. I'm like, not for
Yeah.
me, it ain't.
Like they came up with this term curvy. They didn't
Yeah.
have that when we were younger. It was either you were fucking fat or you were thin. That was it.
Right. You were either
She's
fat or
shapely.
you weren't fat.
Or she's
That's-
built. Remember built when they meant big tits?
Of course, Joe, but big chesticles, I call them. But Joe, do you remember when we were younger? I don't know about you guys, but we didn't eat pizza all the time. It was like it was a treat. We didn't eat
Yeah.
McDonald's. We once a month or something. We're going to McDonald's today. These kids with fast food and they wouldn't. I don't remember Cheetos or any of that shit being a thing.
Yeah, like it's definitely pizza and McDonald's was like when you're a little kid. It was like like on a weekend,
Right.
Friday or Saturday.
Right,
Your mom didn't want to
100%.
cook, so you would get something like that, like a takeout or
It was
delivery kind of thing.
Right. It was we used to go to the place itself and eat there. I don't even remember my parents ever bringing it home. But, we used to go to this place called Rio's Pizza. But the thing is that was like a treat. Today, kids eat that shit all the time, every day. You know what I mean? Mac and cheese, all that. I never ate mac and cheese as a kid. You know what I mean? All that shit. Everybody's fat today,
Yeah. Greg doesn't like flapjack titties.
No, dude.
Or
I'd rather
fluffy.
no titties.
Yeah, fluffy fat. Keith
No
is saying.
titties. No titties.
Uga the Claus got caught pulling it once. Hey, listen, it happens to the best of us. I fucked a bitch in the Kmart bathroom while some dude was taking a shit in the next stall. That's a little odd. If nobody else is in there, it's one thing, but
especially if you're smelling that shit, man.
Yeah. It's not like it's a girl shitting. That's okay. It doesn't smell.
Speaking of that, I gotta pee. Where's she took my pee bucket. Hold on 1 second. 10 seconds. Hold on. Run it right there.
Greg's got to piss. I pissed in the fucking right before we went on the thing. Joe, you should tell Greg about Keisha J. Masters lady of the night. Oh my God. She was fucking, that was one of the funniest fucking videos. And I love Jay when he looks at the camera. And then she did too. She knew it was being give me 10 more dollars, I'll put my finger in your ass. Oh, maybe he wants to go take a shit.
No, I just peed.
There he is.
I just peed. I didn't shit. I just had to pee. I run to the bathroom over there. She takes my pee bucket.
Oh, that's
She's usually there when I do the Palumbo show, but if she forgets that I got to do this for you,
That's all right. Do you know Jay Masters from the whole Jason Genova verse and all of that?
Yeah, I think I do remember the guy. Yes.
I think you've seen him around and stuff. He had a funny video. He's a trucker. He goes cross country in big rigs and all of that shit. So he was in some fucking cheap ass, like fucking Bates Motel one night, and he brings back, and he's, bombed. He's fucking, putting them back. And he brings back this fucking black hua. And she fucking Keisha, she had like a kerchief in her hair, and she was horrible. But who cares? You know, he's happy, he's having fun.
Or he's not marrying her.
Yeah, no, like give me $10 more to put the finger in his ass, and then she took one of his beers out of his cooler when she was done, and a cigarette and stuff. It was just like, and he had the video. It was like an Instagram live, but he didn't show the blowjob part of it. He didn't show that. As far as I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, Hugo de Claus. I don't remember seeing actual sex. I just remember the kind of like the you know, making the deal and afterwards.
He live streamed it.
I think it was, or at least videoed or something. I
Wow.
don't remember exactly all of it. In my defense, it had to happen. We didn't know anyone was in there. Oh, okay. No, listen, I'm not knocking you. Listen, it's either that or nothing. I miss Jay's drunk live streams. I miss the pool, like the fucking or the inside the truck cabin. He used to be like, look like the Wizard of Oz. It was like all dark in there. It was all live streamed. Okay, see, I don't remember on it. She's selling it on eBay. Jay Masters was the guy with 2 birth quads. Yes, he was doing the squat. Call 911. She was on crack. Well,
Shit.
that's
Those are the best kind.
explanatory.
I like crackheads.
He almost showed it the top of his head. Okay, on YouTube live. See, I thought it was just the talking part. I don't remember the actual fellatio portion of it on there.
Joe,
but yeah, it was hysterical. It was great. Great
my
video.
friend got a blowjob in New York City. My friend Steven, he got a blowjob some fucking crack whore.
Oh.
And when he was done, he had a rubber on. Right when he was done, one of her tooth came out because she was a fucking drug addict, and he had a tooth on his fucking piece of God. He had a tooth on his piece of God, right with a rubber. I guess he got caught on a rubber or something. And when he pulled back, and I was like, dude, that's the most disgusting thing. He's like, bro, I'm itching down there. I come up and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And he's holding up a fucking tooth that's got part of the root on it and everything. And it was rotten. I was like, oh fuck.
Oh, there was a fucking what's that fucking famous Italian restaurant in Coney Island? It's still there. It's been there for a million years. It used to be a place where all the boys used to go there. I forget the name of it. It's been there for a million years, and they used to be hookers all over there. So
was it a clam house or something?
No,
I'm not talking about
I think it was like, and then I think they did some private parties and stuff. It's very famous. I think it's one like a name.
If I
one word, like, you know, Angelinos or something like that, you know.
Right.
And I mean, Coney Island back in the 80s, it was fucking it was horrible, right?
Yeah.
I was fucking hammered one night, and I go there and I fucking get some fucking, lady of the evening. This fucking bitch put the rubber in her mouth and put it on my cock. The first flirt. I was impressed, Greg.
I had
it was impressive.
Oh, they know what to do, and they're fucking, and yes, I've had that. Yep.
Yeah, and rubbers are difficult. Yeah, it's almost impossible to come from a fucking rubberized blowjob.
I can't come for no way.
I didn't on this one. I paid for it. I fucking had to go home and jerk. The worst is paying for a blowjob, but still having to go home and jerk off. It's like, why did I even do this? You know,
talk about throwing away money.
That was, I was a young lad. I was probably like 18, 19. I don't know, many years ago. So
yeah, that Coney Island was crazy. I used to go to I used to drug deal over there at Jesus Christ Almighty, right next door where the Russians are.
Brighton Beach.
Brighton Beach. I used to right on the
Russians
boardwalk
are fucking big there still.
Bro, they're bad. They're bad. You don't fuck with those.
Oh,
guys.
they're fucking
crazy.
They're fucking serious.
They're their own entity. They have their own little community, and they don't fool around over there, man.
You don't fucking rat on them, man.
No.
The community goes along whatever they do. They shake them down. They fucking do whatever. They don't get fucking no witnesses against them.
No, they don't play. I used to be down there dealing with those guys all the time.
Yeah.
Back in this is the 90s, you know. It was
oof,
their stories I don't even tell is bad. They were bad dudes. They were
those are the ones that kind of escaped from the fucking Soviet Union.
But they're smart though. They're not like the savages like these MS-13 and all these other savages that come here. They're smart. They're underground. You don't know nothing. You'll never see the shot that kills you. Trust me. They're crazy. They're crazy, you know?
Yeah. They're like old school, like the old school fucking.
Right. You know what the perfect example of that is, Joe? You remember the movie Training Day at the end where the Russians
Yeah.
just pull up in a van?
Yep. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the way they are. They don't play around.
Yeah.
You know?
Those they have a very tight knit community, and the language barrier is to their advantage, obviously. But yeah, like a lot of the women are fucking good looking though. Remember the fucking power lift abroad? She's of age now. We can talk about her. What was her name? The one that came to
yeah,
see you?
that's the Mariana.
Mariana.
I hope he can't say it right. I
Yeah.
have videos and pictures of me and her training together at the
At Bob's.
Yeah, you know, she's she became like Big Willie over there in Russia. You know what I mean? She's like 20-something years old now.
Yeah.
When she was here, she was
like
13 years
16.
old.
13.
There was 13. She benched like 200 pounds at 13 years old.
Right, she
and
was
she wasn't on any
strong.
babanya or nothing.
No, she was natural. She was strong, that fucking girl.
Yeah.
I remember those videos at Bob's place. And I remember when we met her at the Arnold, she was there doing some of the strongman lifts and shit. They flew her in from Russia there. But she was a cute young kid, but now she's, you know, fucking she's legal. So
I trained with her and shit at Bob's gym. And some videos out there. Her father was a great guy. He was a powerlifter too. And her mother was some sort of bodybuilder powerlifter in Russia. So you know, she had it, you know, in the genes. And she was a very pretty girl too.
Is she still doing the weight stuff, or did she give it up?
I don't think so. I think she started doing some other stuff. Like she might be involved in television now in Russia. Yeah, I actually just had a little chat with her like 6 months ago because I put up the videos and then she got a hold of me. You know what I mean? Of me and her training. You know. Yeah. But it was funny because her father would tell me smack. You know, like I had to smack her back and shit. You know what I mean? And like, you know, I was like, yeah, she's 13. He's like, no, smack her. You know, smack. Like this. So I'd go like this, and he'd be like, no, smack her, come on. And she'd turn her back, and she went. So I'm over there, smack. She get on the bench, and I'm like, holy fuck, you know. In this country, you get fucking, even though the father's telling me to do it, you get arrested doing that shit.
Yeah.
For smacking a 13-year-old girl, you know what I mean? He's like, no, smack, come on, smack, you know. I had to wrap her wrists and everything like that. I had to do all that shit, you know.
Yeah.
I got this video. I got the whole videos and shit.
She was cool though. I remember she had emailed me one time years ago, and she did something. She went to Syria, like Russia and Assad when he was in control in Syria.
Shit.
They were like, you know, fucking buddies, right? And so she went on some like tour with some Russian group in Syria, and she's writing me. I said, be careful. It's fucking dangerous there. You know?
Wow. Are you serious? I mean, are you serious?
She had pictures of her with the fucking like first lady, the equivalent of. And,
you know, Joe, I'm telling you, she became, I think, some sort of TV star or something over in Russia. She did something in the media, like the mainstream. Like she's you know, she's got like a following and everything now, but she's a big girl, like an adult.
Yeah, good for her too.
Yeah.
And she was cool, you know what I mean? She never was you know, like she was always humble, even though we were like wow, it's great that what you could do at that age,
right?
Late, you know, and she was like didn't phase her any. Did Gregg ever train or sell juice to Nicole Bass?
No, but I knew Nicole Bass. Nicole Bass once picked me. I had my back turned to her, and she once grabbed me in a headlock and picked me up off the ground. You know, fucking around me. I get pictures of her grabbing me, stretching my cheek.
Yeah,
she was a nice guy, though. I mean, you know, she was. You know, all joking aside, no, she was actually very sweetheart, but she was big. She was.
I used to see her at the Howard things.
Joe, she was once pretty and had big boobs until Bob Fuchs got her and got her involved in all that. You remember Bob Fuchs was her husband?
Yeah, too much.
And he owned that gym. I forgot what it was called. I forgot the name of it. And then he wound up dying, and then she wound up getting all like fucked up and on drugs, and you know, and in the end, she was like a mess. But she was all right. She was a big poof.
I used to do the you know, the Howard Stern security stuff, right?
Right.
And we had one of his birthday parties at the Hammerstein Ballroom. I think it was like 1998, somewhere around then. And she was there. You know, she was part of the whole Whack Pack scene. But she was wearing like a tight tail dress and high heels. And I was like standing right next to her. huge. And this is before I did any bodybuilding coverage, so I really only knew female bodybuilders, a handful of them from like old gyms in Brooklyn and shit. And I'm looking at her, and she was even taller because of the heels. And I'm going,
Yeah, man.
I'd fuck her. I'd fuck her. I wouldn't even think about it. You know,
Oh, dude.
it would definitely be different, you know.
She was
It didn't bother me one bit.
she was like one of the guys, though, Joe. She'd be like, "Get over here," and grab you like this employee over there,
Yeah,
and put you in a headlock and fucking fuck with you, give you a noogie and shit. You know, she was like, you know, she was definitely like a little backwoods, you know, like rough like that. You know what I mean?
She was
she
definitely had a good sense of humor because on
Oh, yeah.
Howard they would always fuck around and say she had a cock and all that, and she would just laugh about it. I mean, she was, you know, she played it, you know.
She
What
was-
is
she
this?
was
I
a
read
good person.
oregano oil cures herpes and has had an outbreak in 13 years. You should try that.
I do. I have
Oregano oil herpes.
I have oregano oil over here. It's
Oregano
in little
oil.
capsules, but it's good for the capsules of oil, and you take it. It's good for
Uh-huh.
the digestion, really. You know, that's what maybe because
Put it on
you know,
your cock.
when that acts up, dude, there ain't no oregano oil is gonna get
Well,
rid of it. It's like somebody
give it
put
a
a
shot.
cigarette out like that. You know what I mean?
You can put some in the fucking gravy for Sunday morning, you know. Oregano and a little basil
Throw a little, a little basil there, a little basil, you know, yeah.
and then you put a little on the saw, you know, they try to fucking bring it down. But
No,
that's
when
a good suggestion then. If his friends had good luck with it, maybe you will too. Give it a shot next.
I don't know, bro. That thing's
Hopefully
like,
there ain't no next time.
no, there's always
You know?
for me. I've had it forever. The thing is, though, is when it acts up, that's like somebody puts a cigarette out on your fucking dick. Picture somebody taking a lit cigarette, going to and go like that. That's what it's like. It's
And
a
how
little
long does it
round fucking-
last? Like it comes back. How many?
like
is
it's
it
there
days?
for like at least like 2 weeks, like that.
Oh, so you
Yeah,
can't do anything for 2 weeks.
The
You're
worst,
like on
Joe. The worst
hold.
is when I was young. Cause see, I was working at a strip club, and going to fucking. I was 18 years old. So it was a senior in high school, so I was working a strip club, and then I was going to school during the day. So I was fucking all them pigs up there, and they were pigs, bro. I could tell
Oh,
you
yeah.
stories and shit. You know, there was this one girl I was fucking around with, and her there was a Mexican a girl too, right? And she comes walking in, and she had a dog, and she had a little puppy, and she had newspapers everywhere, right? And her friend called her in. I thought, okay, I'm gonna have fun now because it was
Yeah.
little skinny Mexican chick. She comes walking, she's all drunk, and she comes walking and she's stark naked, but she stepped in shit. So the fucking so Joe, the newspaper was stuck to the bottom of her foot. And she's walking like this, like glued to the bottom of her foot. And even the girl was like, what are you crazy? Get out of here with the, oh my God, like you could smell it. But she was drunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, that was like fucking, they were, you know, but they were pigs, you know, back then.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's not like today where girls, you know, everybody didn't have implants. They weren't all like hot looking and shit. You know,
Yeah.
those were usually runaways from home. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Having tattoos and shit on them. No
Yeah.
chicks had tattoos. This tattoo shit, I had tattoos before most people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These fucking guys, I had my tattoos in the early, 1990. I got, but this tattoo shit didn't start until 2000s where everybody's tattooed. But back then, you're talking in the 1970s.
Yeah.
Girls didn't have tattoos. It was illegal in this country. If you remember correctly, it was illegal.
It was illegal in New York up until I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years ago.
Right. It was like the end of the 90s. It became.
We used to have the guys in Brooklyn in the basements.
That's exactly like Big
Yeah.
Joe's tattoo in Mount Vernon. We used to have to go there. They would. it was like-
Michelangelo we had in Brooklyn. That was his, they called him Michelangelo. He was
I think
fucking
I remember
amazing.
that guy too. I remember
fucking
hearing about it. I didn't go to, but this guy, you would knock on a fucking door, and then they would open up a little fucking thing, look out, and I'd be like,
Yep.
"Yeah, I'm here." You know, you had to know somebody. You'd have to drop a name.
And you had to wait online. They opened the door like at 11 p.m., but guys are waiting online like at 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
And he
'cause
would
they-
only go until he wanted, and then he would just say, I'm done.
And
You know,
because nobody else did it, you were stuck. Like you
Yeah.
had to use this guy. You
Yep.
know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What is this? Oh, that's the Greg, what brings out the herpes? The stress bring it out.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. All of a sudden you're fine, and then one day you're like, oh fuck, you feel it coming on. You know what I mean? And then it starts to burn and shit like that. You know,
And
I work around it. That's all I can tell you. You know what the worst is, Joe? I had gonorrhea. I think I told you that when I was 18, and from one of them pigs. And I remember my mother was saying, like, what do you have blood in your underwear? Because I throw my, the laundry and shit. It was
Sure,
senior
yeah.
high school.
You kid.
And you know what the worst is? I one time fucked a girl. I wore a rubber. Okay, and I never wear condoms unless he's getting a blowjob or something from a pig in the city. And but anyway, that's another story. But the thing is, I wore a condom, and I can't come. But this girl was like fucking, tickling the balls and doing everything I was fucking.
Yeah.
And I was making out with her, and my tongue is connected to my dick. I start making out and forget about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I spakimed in the rubber, and there was like pus and blood in the cum. But the thing is, it was the most amazing cum because you get that euphoric feeling from coming, right? Especially when you're young. When you're 18, as you're a young guy, you start coming.
Sure.
It's like, it's not like now after you spakimed about 1,000 times, a million times. The thing is, the pain, because it was very, that my dick was like really bad, man.
Right?
It was burning. It was burning, and it was like I guess something like Lee Priest would stick his dick in a fucking in a like a drawer and start banging a drawer like this, and all of a sudden he'd fucking come. You know what I'm saying? It was like that. Like I was like, oh my God, that was the weirdest thing because it hurt so bad to come. But yet at the same time, it was euphoric. It was a crazy fucking thing. Bro, that was so bad. That's the worst. You don't ever want that. It was so bad that just having your pants just barely touch like this, just your pants touching your fucking piece of legal, forget about it. You're like, oh my God. I had to go to the hospital, and they're sticking this like wire, the plunger down there.
They stick it in the hole of your
Oh
trick.
man, it was bad, man. It was really
Thankfully, I've never had that, knock on wood.
Dude, that was big back in the 70s, you know what I mean? Because guys were coming back from Vietnam with that shit, and they gave it to girls. So I got it from a peg.
Nobody wore scumbag. Like you said, nobody wore scumbags.
Yeah, never. I never worked.
Never. It was before AIDS. AIDS, that's when people started to get nervous about it. But before that, if you had a chance, you didn't have one with you. You didn't carry one with you.
No, never.
You got lucky. You banged the broad in a fucking car or something.
Never. That's the only time I ever fucked a girl with a rubber. In the city, I got 2 or 3 times I got blowjobs because my friends were getting blowjobs. I didn't want it. I remember sitting in the back of the car, and I had a bad cold, and I was sleeping. And next thing I know, this girl's putting a rubber on my dick, sucking on it because my friend paid for her. They were, I had 2 friends in the front seat. They had these whores and shit, And it was a long time ago, it was back when they were just building. Remember when they were building the Port Authority, and they had all the whores used to walk around back there? You know what I mean? When it was just, it wasn't even built yet. It was all like steel beams and shit,
And they were, that's when Times Square was a fucking zoo. Fucking nuts.
I used to go down there with Charlie, who, from Fox.
Oh yeah.
My boy from Fox. We used to go down there. We would all be.
Hey, we all did. We used to cut school and take the train to go to the peep shows and get fake IDs.
Dude,
the worst fake IDs ever.
Dude, you remember they used to have the live sex acts on stage, the Harmony Burlesque? We used to go in there. The girls would come out
and they start going in the audience, like this, in the booth. Put the token in.
Yeah, that's the booth. The window would come up and they'd start dancing. They push their box. Then they'd ask you if you want a private date. They come around to go right in the booth.
Yeah. But some of them didn't have the window, and you could touch them and squeeze their tits. They would come and go tip, and you'd give them $1 and squeeze their tits. Yeah.
But we used to go when they also had the live sex acts on stage. Where
they had a bed in the middle.
Yes.
All the booths were in a circular.
Everybody be sitting around. You see all these guys just sitting, older men sitting there like this.
Jerking off, and there's a bed in the middle of the thing, and the guy's fucking a girl, or 2 girls are fucking each other.
Yeah, we used to do that all the time. We used to
go to the live sex shows all the time, and it was fun. And they weren't even good looking. It was just because we were kids. So any sex kind of thing, like dirty movies, dirty magazine, was like gold. Because there was no fucking Pornhub, bro.
No, there was not. But you know what's funny? The city was filthy, dirty. Everywhere you went. Even in the windows, they would have pictures of like
naked
with, whatever, jerking their mouth and shit.
Yeah.
And there could be kids walking, but they didn't give in New York City back then. Times Square was filthy, but it was beautiful. Though.
Orgy den of fucking. It was just a real fucking dirt.
Dude, I remember early 80s, even on the West Side Highway. they would actually have cars, like just shells of cars. Just a car would get in a
Yeah.
car, they just leave the
Abandoned.
car there or burn it. The thing would burn and shit. And you just and there are people living in that fucking shell of a car. Do you
Bro,
remember
they
that?
used to be fucking gay prostitutes naked on Sunrise Highway, on fucking the West Side Highway, standing there naked, waving to the fucking cars, wearing like a wig,
That's before they had the remember they had they used to have the fucking train they took the train up at that train, the elevated train was there and shit too. Yeah, they still do that. You're talking about around 14th Street, they had all that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
all
even going north on there.
Dude, they'd have like these black drag queens. They'd be big. Like I seen one with a football jersey on and just a wig on it. Yo, you want a blowjob? And wearing nothing on underneath. This is a big football jersey and like sneakers and shit.
We were driving. It had to be, I don't know, 2, 3 in the morning. And it was like February. I'm talking bitter cold. And now we're on the water. We're on the West Side Highway, right? The fucking, the water's right there. It was so cold. And there was this big black tranny. Again, a guy stark naked with a blonde wig on, just holding his sweatshirt in his hands, covering his cock and balls.
Yeah.
Like waiting for somebody to pull. I'm like, this place is just out of control.
But those aren't even trannies. Those are, like you said, they're gay escort. They're just gay dudes with a wig on and said, yo, what's up, man? You know what I mean? You want a blowjob?
They would fucking, they do fucking blowjobs, or you guys would fuck them. And like you see, like businessmen used to pull up to them.
Oh, yeah.
Like
dude,
fucking straight guys in fucking.
Oh, fuck yeah. Because they didn't give a shit. If you just wanted a blowjob, you close your eyes. It's fucking Barbara Eden or something who was hot back then. You know what I'm saying? You're like this, I dream of Jeannie. You know what I mean? You didn't give a fuck. But, like
yes, master.
Said, lips have no gender. But the thing is, I went down there. It was with my boys one time, and we cut to a parking lot because we made we wanted to go the other way. We're like, fuck, I went the wrong way. So we cut to a parking lot, and it was a police car, and I saw 2 cops were getting blowjobs. This is like the late 70s. Because back then, the fucking, the cops, if they didn't like you down back, my high school girlfriend's father was like a fucking, he was like a sergeant in Fort Apache. When they actually did the movie Fort Apache, he was right there. He was one of the guys. And they would be like, if the fucking savages were like fucking crazy, they'd throw them off the roofs. You know what I mean? Sure you've heard all those stories.
In that movie, that was that. Yeah. Oh, that was.
I didn't even remember if they did it, but I know in real life they would do that shit in the 60s and 70s. The cops were like, the fuck out of here. If you were like some
you want to hear a great story? This is a South Brooklyn, my dad, right? When he grew up on President Street. Now that was right there where fucking Crazy Joe Gallo and all those guys were, right? Yeah. So that was all fucking mobbed up. That whole strip, right? And President 3rd, the 4th. There was he told me a story. There was a girl, I don't know, young girl, let's say 20-ish.
Yeah.
She came home from work. I don't know if she got off the train on 4th Avenue or whatever, and was walking down the block. And this black guy followed her from the avenue. And then, she was going in an apartment building. So they have like the 2 doors, the first door and the second door. So now she got in the first door and she's about to get in the second. And he sneaks up in there to try to get her. Now she screams. There's a couple of the fucking boys hanging around the corner. They hear it, thank God. They come and save the day. They dragged this fucking guy upstairs to the fucking roof and did the 1, 2.
Yeah. I could dream, I could fly.
Yeah, 4 fucking stories down DOA. The cops came, nobody saw nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it was.
They don't fucking play.
Deserved it.
Back in those days,
they
didn't play around. Even the cops
like in the 30s, bro. My father was born in 29. He says he was a kid. So I don't know exactly how old he was, but it was somewhere in the 30s and the 40s, and they ran the show.
Oh yeah, let me tell you something. The mob and the cops, they were like,
they were
parallel, thing. Yeah, because my father too. He was born 1927, so he'd be almost 100 years old right now. But it was crazy. You didn't fuck around down there. Let me tell you something. The mafia neighborhoods were the safest neighborhood. You could leave your fucking front door wide open with a sign, I dare you to come in here. Nobody would even think about it.
Bro, my old neighborhood in Brooklyn, nothing ever happened there as far as crimes against regular people.
Canarsie, Bensonhurst, you
Yep.
know, the South Beach, the whole fucking, that whole
Beach.
Bath Beach, you know, all that shit.
Yep.
Does
Gravesend.
Bath Beach was where I think Gotti was Bath, wasn't he?
No, he's Queens.
No, but wasn't John Gotti was originally, wasn't he from Benson?
Howard Beach.
He was Howard Beach.
Howard Beach. Originally born in East New York. Originally, I think he was born in Manhattan, and they called it Italian Harlem. It used to be called, now it's Spanish Harlem.
I was born
And then he moved to East New York. He was from Manhattan to New York to Queens. But Bath Beach, Sammy the Bull was Bensonhurst. He lived
Bensonhurst.
He lived like 10 blocks from I did.
They're bad, bro. And back in the day, if you were savage back in what was those kids? Remember those kids with the baseball bats and fucking not Gus Faraci. He was another crazy bastard.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The mob killed him because he fucking
brought heat on him.
He brought the heat on him. But remember those kids? I forgot their name. The Howard Beach. Remember they chased some.
Well, there was one in Howard Beach and one in Bensonhurst, my old neighborhood. 2 incidents in the 80s.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. You know.
Yeah, we had them marching every Saturday, Sharpton, in our old neighborhood.
He's lucky he didn't get it.
They stabbed him. They got one of the nuts in their neighborhood to stab him, but it didn't really do anything.
They stabbed
Sharpton.
Sharpton?
Yeah, yeah. But it was like it was like kind of a, he was a bots, the guy, they just got him, and he had like a kitchen knife, and he stabbed him, and he had like the leather jacket on. It barely like fucking got
right. He got a scratch, right?
And then, they jumped on him and stuff. The kids in the neighborhood were just egging him on, like,
Yeah, that was a crazy time, and the mob.
80s were bad. Race things were even, dude. When I was in junior high school, we used to have race riots all the fucking time, black versus white. And then when I was in high school, we used to have Russian riots against the Russians.
I remember that.
Russians starting to come to America now.
Dude, they don't fucking play.
We used to fucking, we outnumbered them, so we had the advantage. But it was rough, man.
But you know what's different though? The Italian mob, they weren't like heartless. They were heartless with each other when they would Greg Scarpa and people like that. They had no heart, but
yes,
the Russians don't care. They'll kick kids. They didn't give a shit. The Italians didn't do that. The Italians did do this. Sometimes they would whack a family and then they'd send the money each month. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the Russians, they didn't play, bro. They were like
they're like fucking. Like,
they had no heart. They had right, like Dolph Lundgren.
Yusuf Hawkins, yes. August 23rd, 1989 was the incident in Brooklyn in Bensonhurst where the kid was. I know a lot about that situation that I will just leave off the air. Put it that way. Everything you saw in the news was not everything that was.
Well, the news is liberal, and it's always been liberal, so they're gonna put a different spin. Did I ever sell stuff to White? I had one of the wise guys was my partner in that stuff. Yes, of course.
You had what then wasn't Sonny Black?
Yes. Yep. I don't want to say too much. Yeah, Sonny Black.
I gotcha. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's
Sonny Napolitano. Yeah.
He's out of jail. That's crazy. I don't know how he got out, but that's neither here there. Because he could be watching as he's fucking crazy.
Well, hi, we're friends of yours. Goomba. Come on.
Yeah, that was bad. But I was in with really bad mafia.
Abbiamo amico.
I saw, dude. I met Junior Gotti, right? And you know where I met him in Scores, and I was with my friend who was involved with them.
Yeah,
bro. I remember, I was with my friend. My friend brought me over, and he was talking to him, and he has all these guys with him, and none of them, they just stare at you. I feel like I was in a room with a bunch of pit bulls. You know what I mean? How they, when you're like, dude, that dog is ready to pounce on me. Like that dog right there keeps staring at me, and you can see the ears are up at the dog, and the dog's like this. They just sit there. Even if you say hello to them, they just do this. They barely nod. They just go.
Yeah.
That, and I'm like, how you doing? So, and I didn't want to fuck around because, my friend knew them. So I was somewhat okay. But if he would have said something cross, they knew him. But if he would have said something that they didn't like, I was in trouble too. Those guys, you don't want to be around those guys. Because let me tell you something about those guys. They also fuck each other over. Today, come to my house. We'll have, macaroni, this, that. And then when you leave out they got somebody waiting for you in the bushes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They
yeah.
whacked each other. That's what people don't understand. The mafia didn't go and kill some guy because he's, because he parked in a parking spot, whatever. They didn't do that shit. It's usually one of their own because it always had to do with money, disrespect, ratting. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, every one of them were rats. It's just amazing.
It's really, to me, that it's kind of like very disappointing because that used to be like the old way was you never fucking saw that. Guys never fucking ratted on
never.
Big, especially when they were big in it. Like they would do their fucking time. I knew fucking friends of mine that did time not to rat. They took their medicine like a fucking man, did their whatever, years. I had a friend I grew up with. He ended up turning an informant. He was a fucking hitman. He used to be on a hockey team. He lived on my block. We were buddies. And he became a hitman for the family. And he did a long time in jail, and then he was getting blamed for something he didn't do, and he flipped. And this is how fucking stupid the fucking authorities are. Once he flipped, he was indemnified. They didn't realize he was a guy that did a fucking murder, and he gave it up because they couldn't charge him with it.
No, that
was it.
Joe, these guys all around. Sammy the Bull, who brags on we went in the room with Joe Mataran, shot him in the back of the head. Then we cut his body up. We threw it in the bag. You're here talking about that shit. You know how much he gets? Joe Zapata was talking to his people. He gets 70 grand for a show. You got to pay him 70 grand. Do you know that motherfucker brags?
Doing a Netflix thing with him on it.
Dude,
now.
He brags. Joe, how is there not somebody
sells shirts with the 19 on it for how many bodies? Which he didn't do all of them, but
he didn't do it. But he had something to do with it.
He was setting it up,
and I think he's done more than that. But the thing is, but you're bragging about this shit. All you need is some lunatic fucking kid whose father was whacked by him, or was involved with that shit. I'm surprised somebody hasn't fucking, done something about it. These mob guys, they get on there and they all talk about jail and this, and everybody's like, tell me more. And they become like celebrities now. You know what I'm saying? It's just, to me, I don't, he should give all that money to the 19 people he had, killed and shit,
Don't fucking rat. If you fuck up, you get
100%.
Got to eat it. You go in, you do your fucking thing, and you fucking deal with it.
But all those guys became, even I think Greg Scarpa fucking might have been involved.
Greg Scarpa was an informant for 20-something years. All right, you saw Mississippi Burning?
He was the one.
Yes.
It was
okay,
him.
so you know the story then.
He was the one who took the guy into the shed.
Yep, and got the info where the kids were buried.
Had his fucking
in the movie, they had a black guy that did
right. They had
that was the Grim Reaper, and he was a Bensonhurst guy.
Dude, he was one.
He was a tough motherfucker.
Dude, he was fucking. He went. Dude, he had to have an operation, and he said, "I don't want no
anesthesia,
no gay or black dude's blood transfusion."
Oh yeah.
So he had his own men. He said, "I want all my boys, all my friends, to line up and donate blood." And they did. And guess what? He caught AIDS because one of them mob guys was secretly gay. He didn't know it. But one of them was gay.
They never admitted that. They said he was a steroid user and used needles from other guys. That's why he had HIV.
Dude, first of all, you don't shoot steroids intravenous. Second of all, I never saw a guy like, here, here's my needle. That's bullshit. And I don't think he did no steroids. Or the guy did steroids. That's bullshit. He was fucking gay.
But that's the story that Scarpa.
Right. Because
that now, but that's
right. Because he didn't want to fucking. But like the Sopranos had that one guy who was like, who didn't know that was really gay. I think that was a spinoff of the Scarpa. But what people don't know is that it was the FBI or whatever was hired him to go down to Mississippi and he grabbed one of them fucking cops.
Guy. It wasn't the mayor. It was just one of the.
It was a cop.
The TV repairman store.
Yep.
And he tortured the guy.
Tortured him in that because they knew That's why they called him the Grim Reaper. Dude, that guy would, if he didn't like you or if you said something cross, you could be sitting there playing cards with him, eating dinner. All of a sudden, just pull out a gun and go, boom, shoot you right in the fucking head while you're there. He didn't give.
He was so fucking tough. After he got HIV,
I know what you're gonna say. Yes.
withering away, and then his son had an argument with these guys. They one had a shootout. He got shot in the eye.
They shot his eye out. He went back home to get more help. He was gonna go right back there with a bullet, went right through his fucking eyeball.
Bullet in his eye. Yes.
Yep. And
he
then
was
he died
out of his mind.
Dude, he was so crazy. Yep. His son was fucked over by some weed dealers. And he went with the son to go fucking whack them, and they were waiting for him. And when he got there, they shot him right in the eye.
That was like about a mile from my house. It was a kid named Mikey Flattop, and this other kid named Messy Marvin was his nickname. They had the shootout with Greg Scarpa Jr. and Sr. Yep, he got hit in the fucking eye, and he still lived for, I don't know, a year or two after. He died of the AIDS, but you know.
He went back home, I think, to get more fucking ammunition and more, because I think he wanted to go back. He didn't care. He went home and they're like, "What happened to your eye?" And he's like, nothing. You know, I think I got poked in the eye with a bullet. You know what I mean? Like, holy fuck.
He was like unrecognizable when he was thin from the HIV compared to his, you know, how he looked even a few years before that, you know.
But he was, you know what? He was still crazy. It's just like, there was a story where, like, what's his name? Lyle Alzado. You know what I mean? After he got like that whole thing, and Paul DeMeo once told me, and a few other guys have told me that he did not have that he wasn't a brain tumor. He had AIDS. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but whatever. You know, it's a rumor. But anyway, he withered down to nothing, and he had a hot wife, and he was once in a convertible with his wife, and this is before he died. And he was all shriveled up. Now I'm talking about Lyle Alzado. Because it reminds me of Scarpa, you know. Some guys were hitting on his wife in a gas station when they were getting gas, because his wife was like, you know, all hot, wearing like shorts and shit, you know. And they're like, "What are you with your father?" And he said, "I got out of the car and I'm looking, you know, and I'm ready to fuck these guys up." But I'm thinking, holy shit, you know, like now I'm like, he had no more strength. He was like, he was basically like weeks away from dying. You know, and he couldn't do anything about it, but he still had that mentality, like, "I'll fucking kill you." Meanwhile, we had a buck like $130. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe he had that Sports Illustrated cover when he had the fucking headband, the kerchief.
Dude, you remember him taking a helmet off and hitting guys in the field with it and shit?
What a fucking defensive lineman. He was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Paul Mealy is the bodybuilder who donated blood to him and had HIV. Oh, good job, Nick. I never heard of that guy, but he was, I guess, a Colombo.
All right, but listen to me. I don't give a shit. He did not have AIDS from that. They're using that guy as an excuse. I'm sure it wasn't Paul Mealy's blood.
Somebody else.
Bodybuilder had AIDS, and if he did, it wasn't because he was injecting steroids. Because he was, you know, fucking taking it up the poop chute there. So don't believe any of that shit. He died. That guy, whoever got AIDS, was back then. If you remember, Joe, you remember back then the fucking AIDS was rampant. You know what I'm saying?
It's a death sentence.
Yeah, it was a death sentence. Today, you get these guys that get AIDS. They live, you know, they live a while. You know, they don't. I think they can control it.
Bro, there's commercials where if you think you're gonna maybe have a chance of getting it, you take the fucking medicine to prevent it.
Well, so, look at Magic Johnson and even Tommy Morrison. Tommy Morrison was a drug addict. He died. I think he was like on meth and all kinds of shit. I mean, he rotted away from drugs, but they're saying that there was no more signs of AIDS inside him. You know what I'm saying? Look at Magic Johnson. He's had it since like 1990.
91. Yeah, or 90 or 91. Yeah, and he's like puffy looking. He's not scrawny at all.
They're saying now that there's no sign, like he doesn't have anything. I mean, that's for fucking 30 years. Back when you got that shit, you lived a few months at the most. I have a cousin that died of that, you know?
Yeah,
my cousin was gay. Yeah, so
fucking Rock Hudson went quick on it, right?
Liberace. So all the money in the world, Liberace was like, you know, close to $1 billion. That guy couldn't. All the money in the world can't save you. Look at Steve Jobs and all that shit who died of cancer. You know
Freddie
what I mean?
Mercury, right?
All those, right. Yeah. All the money can't stop, you know, can't save if that shit's coming for you. But what I'm saying is Scarpa got it from somebody donated blood that was secretly fucking, you know, I don't care. Even if it was that body, they're using that bodybuilder as, oh yeah, Joe Matarazzi, he's on steroids. So probably got it from him with the injections. IV drug users stick it in the vein, they'll, you know, and when you're so
And the blood comes back in it.
Right. So
And then when they share the needle,
100%.
your blood goes into my blood through
exactly. And drug addicts are so fucked up for, when you're on heroin and all those kind of drugs.
Oh, they
you're
pass
so
the
messed
needle
up. They don't care that, like, if you said don't use that needle, they'd be like, I don't give a shit. I need, but don't think that some
These guys never share needles.
What bodybuilder shares needles?
Never in my life seen
Come
that.
on.
Never.
Never.
I've never done it. You never done that. And I doubt anybody. If Lee was on today, he would say, get the fuck out of here.
That's all bullshit.
He has their own fucking
I mean,
stuff.
I've reused needles, but I didn't share them.
Oh, that's different. It's your own. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit. He got it because somebody secretly had AIDS. You know what I mean? From what?
It was just shit, bad luck, unfortunately, for that also. But fucking totally, you guys were live. Oh, all right. Fucking
Who's that?
Erogenous, egregious blunder. Totally, where you guys were live. And Dave's documentary is coming out tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow's the now, is it on like a free thing or is it a streaming?
Yeah, I don't even know what I don't know what the hell it's on. You know what I mean? I know what it's not on. Television.
It's not on Vice TV.
It's not on Vice TV.
It's not on what was the man whose arms exploded was on
TLC.
TLC, right?
TLC.
It's definitely not
or
on
ESPN.
ESPN.
Dude,
Yeah,
ESPN.
It's not on ESPN 60. No, it's not.
All right, I've been on a million shows too, so but the documentary stuff is.
It was not on Carson Daly.
I wish you the best. I mean, I don't know what the hell comes. Anybody could today. Anybody. I mean, we could do a documentary on us. You know what I'm saying? Walking around with a camera. It's everybody's got documentary. But
have you guys heard about Artie Lang suffering from early dementia like Bruce Willis? No, I did not hear that. I think he's just burnt out.
I think when Joe and I interviewed Artie Lang, I don't know if you guys know this.
Wasted that day.
He was really bad. Eddie Money was really bad too, if you remember.
Yeah.
Eddie Money, I was shocked at that one.
He was
Artie
blurring.
Lang was like,
yeah. Yeah, he was and his Alex Sugar Claus with a good quote. You know where that's from?
That's why I was breaking Dave's balls because of that.
Yeah. Greg also made Tyra Banks wet. Yes, she did. Have that. I love that little
Tyra. Yeah, she kept grabbing me. She told me, "Boy, you got it going on." That's what she told me.
She was cute though, right?
She was really nice to me. What's funny because her people, the girls that did it. No, listen, I've been on Jay Leno, Carson Daly, Tyra. I've been on I did the comedy, the what do you call it? That Adult Swim shit, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But she was really nice to me. To be honest with you, she was a very good-looking girl. But she's really big. She's tall.
Is she?
Everybody's tall. But her people were like, "Oh, fuck her." First of all the people that work for those shows, right? The little mini producers and there's a bunch of producers, and they're all like talk show whores. You know what I mean? Because like. They were telling me like, oh yeah, I used to work for Dr. Phil, and before that I was with Oprah, and then I was with Sally, Jesse, Raphael. And I'm like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Like, they go around, you know what I mean? But they were talking shit about her. Fuck her. They were saying all this shit. The girl doing your hair. Well, I didn't need my hair done, but they do makeup, and they're all sitting in there fucking smoking cigarettes in the green room. And when I'm in there, and they're like talking shit about her, and I'm like, whoa, I guess you ain't gonna be working here long. You know what I mean?
Well, they move around a lot, so I guess they don't give a fuck. They know they're gonna Keith with the Val Kilmer, yes, very sad.
Yeah,
great actor, obviously. He's been sick for a while.
Yeah, I had throat cancer too, you guys. I had 3 surgeries in 5 weeks, but I had it different. Mine was up higher, off where the tonsils are and shit. So they did a lot.
Easier
to down with the larynx.
Yeah, but he, amazing actor who pulled off the Jim Morrison role. Fucking amazing, in my opinion.
Oh my God, he looked just like him. Did you ever see it? He looked just fucking like him. I mean, holy shit!
He even like stood like him. Like on stage. I mean, he obviously studied everything.
Corona.
He was great actor, but he was great in Heat. He was great in obviously the Top Gun stuff. He was in a lot of fucking movies, and it was a shame what happened because he was like one of those heartthrob guys,
Yeah, he was.
Hair and shit, and then he just got all fucked up. And it was cool that he was in the Maverick movie, which that Maverick movie, in my opinion, fucking blew. It was horrible. But the scene with Maverick and Iceman was kind of cool. How
Well,
they wrote him in as being sick and dying in the movie.
yeah, I didn't see the movie, but I did. I
Oh, it
remember
sucked.
liking the movie Heat, but I can't. You know, with Robert De Niro, I can't. You know, I mean, I lose.
Who cares? You
He
know,
just
don't let his politics ruin your entertainment of watching him.
No, I
film,
still will
know?
watch old movies with him, but today now he
Yeah.
tries to be funny and shit.
He's a jerk off. Yeah,
Oh, dude, what a disgrace to Italians too.
I know. He is a fucking a dirtbag fucking piece of shit clown, but he's second to none as far as when it comes to playing bad guys, especially mob guys in fucking movies.
I'll tell you who I have right there with him is Al Pacino. I mean,
Oh yeah,
dude,
yeah.
Dude, Al
Well, he
Pacino.
was perfect. The two of them, you know, one
Oh yeah, perfect,
bad guy.
absolutely. But
It's
you
like
know what's
ball
funny,
games
though?
and barbecues. That scene's great.
Dude, let me tell you something. Al Pacino was so good at Scarface that today, if they did a remake, they would hire some Spanish dude to play
guy.
that, but you'd never do a better job than Al Pacino. There's no way.
Yeah, he played that great. Obviously, he played Michael Corleone great. He's
Man.
even in like Any Given Sunday, he was awesome.
Yeah, all of them.
Playing a head coach of a football team. He was.
What about that? What's the one where he's blind? Do you remember? You're a bitch.
Yeah!
That was half the man I was 7 years ago. I'd take a flamethrower to this place.
Yeah, he does the rat speech.
Scent of a woman.
Scent of a woman. Doesn't
Right.
he do a rat speech in court when he's defending the kid? He does something about
he
not
slams
being
his
a
fucking
rat.
thing down and all this
Yeah.
shit. And you're raising a bunch of like beta males or whatever the fuck he said.
Yeah.
He was ripping them apart. A bared man. What is a bared man? Yeah, because that was the name of the school. A bared. But he was great in that. He was great. And even all the old ones, like what's the one where Attica?
Oh, yeah, fucking the fuck Jesus Christ. The Dog Day Afternoon.
What was it?
Dog Day
Dog
Afternoon.
Day Afternoon, right.
And John Casale was the guy
his
who
lover in that movie. That
was a great fucking movie. He wanted the movie for money for a sex change. He was gay. That's a real story. That happened in like Bushwick, Brooklyn, around that way, northern.
Yeah,
Brooklyn.
I know that's based on a true story. Yep.
Yep, definitely.
He was
Some
great in
movies
that movie.
aren't made to be remade. I 100% agree.
100%.
But they don't have any new ideas, so they remake shit now. It's like they ran out of ideas. How do you run out of ideas? You know,
the thing with Scarface is everything in that movie was so perfect. You know what I'm saying? He did such a good job. You know what I mean? Joe Womb was polluted. You know what I mean? Like,
fly, Pelican, fly.
Can't you ever say anything but fuck? You know, can't you see we're losers? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you watch them yourself.
Say goodbye to the bad guy. You're never gonna see another bad guy like this.
Sosa, that piece of
shit. Sosa. Yeah, Sosa.
My friend
Dude, everything in that movie was fucking great. Every time he opened his mouth, it was a clip. You know what I mean? It was just fucking. You know what I mean?
Get the Yale.
Get the Yale. Manuel, shoot this piece of shit. See what the resurrection, right? I'll see what the.
Hey, Ernie, you want a job? Sure, Tony.
Right? Yeah. You fucked up, Mel.
Yeah.
Tony, I'm a cop. Whoever says you was one.
Was one.
You're like a bird who don't fly the street. We can fix this, Tony. We can fix this.
Yeah.
Dude, I used to see that guy in Gold's Gym. He used to go to Gold's Gym, that guy. The guy that got shot.
Mel?
Yeah, Mel.
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to go to Gold's Gym. He wasn't jacked or anything. Somebody was training him, but I used to see him at Gold's Gym in like 1981. I was like, holy shit. You know, that movie just came out.
Greg does a good Scarface. Yes, you do.
No. You fucked up, Mel.
You fucked
See you
up.
at the resurrection. But every time he fucking opened his mouth in that movie, you could have clipped it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was just a great fucking movie. So they wanted who's gonna play him? They say they're doing it.
No, I don't think. I was just saying you can't. I don't know if they're gonna remake that. You know, I one time heard they were, and that they wanted what's his name to play it. That fucking guy that was married to J-Lo or whatever the fuck. What the hell's his name? Mark Anthony or whatever the fuck it is.
Oh, well, nah.
Can you imagine that?
Goofy looking. He's not tough.
He looks like a fucking pussy. I mean, you just look at Scarface in that movie. You just knew Even when
Yeah.
they were working in that falafel stand or whatever the fuck it was, when they were watching, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
At the beginning, yeah. Why don't you
First-
put your head up your ass and see if it fits?
Yeah. Or how about first you make the money, then you get the pussy, right? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Lesbians.
You remember? What the fuck is that? What is that? What is that? Don't do that. You remember when that guy man was like, you gotta go to a girl, and he walks
Yeah.
over to the chick and she smacks him, you know?
Don't get
Every-
high on your own supply.
Dude, that whole fucking movie, you could just take clips like this. It was
Oh,
just an amazing movie, you know?
They would probably cast The Rock to play Scarface. They'd
Oh
go,
God.
yeah, The
please.
Rock. I've had it with him, dude. I am
Dude,
so
me
over
too.
him. He was gonna bring the Olympia on CBS television. Remember, in 2016, he got on the stage at the Orleans and said,
Dude.
"Next year it's gonna be on CBS." On
Yeah,
TV.
I remember. Well, he's so full of shit.
Oh,
Let me tell you something. Another thing too, he's so liberal. Even all that shit in Hawaii, him and Oprah Winfrey sitting there, like
oh,
basically, their how did the fire go like this and around their house?
yeah,
And,
yeah.
I don't know, and then all his liberal stuff, Kamala Harris would be a great, Then at the
Yeah.
end, he was like, "Okay, I'm not getting involved," because he knew he was starting to lose people. People look at these guys when
Yeah.
they start that liberal woke shit.
The Rock endorsed Kamala. If I was a fucking movie star, I would never fucking say who I liked.
Never.
I would just go middle ground. I'm like, oh, I'm just into movies. I don't worry about that stuff. That's for people with bigger fucking
Dude, do you know who killed me? Do you know,
than me.
do you know who killed me with that? I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if you know about this, but I love Caitlin Clark because she just dominates so strong in
Yes.
basketball.
Oh, when
She
she
is
sold
such a
out.
monster. And then first of all, she took Anita Black, the whole Black Lives Matter shit. And then, she,
Sold
and then
out.
she started that Kamala
They
Harris stuff.
paved the way for people like me, the black
Oh
women
my
in the
God.
WNBA. She was perfect because she just kept her mouth shut
You
about it.
couldn't do
Just
what
wait.
the fuck did she do though, bro?
Why did you have to say that?
Dude, I guarantee you, Joe, she had so many fans. She made the women's basketball was made by, she brought
Totally.
it to the, they quadrupled their income and everything.
Yeah.
And it's because she took, the black chicks and they could headbutt her, fucking poke her in the eye,
Yeah.
smack her fucking in the nose with her elbow, do all this shit to her, kick her on the ground, spit on her, call her white bitch, all this other shit, say the most, and it didn't stop her. She still would outscore
played.
all of them.
Yep.
She was a monster. She was a monster of a player. She was a phenomenal player, just unstoppable, almost like a man playing with children. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then afterwards, when she took the knee to the whole BLM shit, and then started saying all this, like, well, the black girls are good and all this shit. After they, and I'm not making it about race, but they made it about race. You understand? And they were bullying her because she was so good and she's white and it's supposed to be. It's first of all, there's no color, to that sport because. Back when it first came out, there was all white dudes playing it. There was no black people in it. But because it became a ghetto sport, because you can play that in the schoolyards, and it's an inner city sport. You don't need a football field, a baseball field, or a hockey equipment. So that's how that became that way. But the thing is, to bring race into it, you were supposed to be this person who broke the barriers of race. You know what I mean? And you didn't care about race and not make it. But I don't care. I'm a Yankee fan, bro, and I love the Mets too. You know that, Joe. But I don't give a shit what color a guy is. If he's my guy, he's my guy, bro.
Of course, you
team.
root for the team,
Right. But for her to do that, she almost destroyed her own legacy. I don't even hear about her now anymore.
I think. Listen, first of all, last year the NCAA women's tournament, because she was in it, is exciting, if not more exciting than the men's tournament. This year, nobody's even realizes that
nobody cares.
Nope. And when the WNBA comes back around, they ain't gonna have the ratings like they did.
Nobody cares because she was a scoring machine. You know who she was? She was Wayne Gretzky. She was she was what's his name there? The fucking I think too fastly. What the fuck? What's the basketball? No, the basketball dude. The Magic, not Magic Johnson. Fucking
Kobe Bryant.
No, the other one. I could dream. I could fly to the Chicago Bulls. There,
Michael Jordan.
She was Michael Jordan. She was Babe Ruth. You know, she
Yeah,
was
he
this
was the
person
fucking-
who was so. Remember when Wayne Gretzky came in? You know, he would score so many plays with like double. With Babe Ruth.
Everybody
came
knew who he was, the whole world.
Dude,
Yeah.
Babe Ruth came on the home run Baker was the big home run hitter in
He had
baseball.
11.
I think he hit 8 or maybe 11.
11,
Then
I think,
fucking
was
here
the
comes fucking Babe Ruth's 50, 60. You know what I mean?
Home run Baker on the Philadelphia Athletics. Yeah.
Dude, in a dead ball era. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? With bats that weren't made with machines and hardened wood, you know. They were,
Yeah,
everything was raw.
handmade.
Back then, they had balls were hand sewn. You know, at one
Yep.
point they used to throw the ball back. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Let
they
the
didn't
guy-
have enough balls. They
Right,
kept playing
people
with the
didn't
same
realize
one.
that.
Now, if there's a little scuff on it, if
Oh,
it hits the dirt, they just the
listen.
catcher just throws it out. Remember when the ump would have to decide if he would keep it or not?
right.
He would look at it and go, "No, it's all right."
Now they don't even do that. But the balls are made with computer honed machines. You know, they're
Yeah.
right to the very ounce. You know what I'm saying?
same.
They're
Yep.
hardened and everything like that, so balls fly out of there. Goose Gossage once took a ball from like the 60s and 70s, and he took a ball from modern baseball and he dropped them both at the same time. And the ball, well, you can see the difference. But I'm saying like one, the balls were like different. The old balls were down here with the other ball, and I'm just saying. Babe Ruth was hitting balls when the balls were like wacky packs. You know what I'm saying? They were hand sewn. They weren't hardened. If they would weigh them on a scale, they weighed them on a scale with a fucking thing, not some digital, like right to the to the percent. But that guy was hitting home runs. He was so far ahead of everybody. He didn't give a shit. Smoked cigars, drank beer. Threw farts and shit. He didn't care.
Yep. Babe Ruth had the original torpedo bat. Talking a little bit about the Yankees.
Listen.
It's
I hate to tell you, but the torpedo bat's been in baseball for quite a while. It's been there for years. Giancarlo Stanton's used it for at least 2 years, he said.
so why all of a sudden is it?
Because they're making a big thing. First
now?
of all that means is the barrel of the bat has a tiny bit more wood where they hold it. It's not even that much. It's not like, listen, you still got to be able to hit the ball. Okay, it's just like when guys say
nothing. It's a non-story. They're making a big deal out of.
Google it.
Everybody used it then. So
a lot of guys have been using it for years.
Yeah, just use it then. Don't cry about it. Don't say the Yankees are cheating.
And guess who doesn't use it? Aaron Judge. He doesn't use it. He uses a regular bat. So it's not. Listen to me. It's just like when guys tell me, "Oh, steroids made these guys, in baseball so good."
Yeah,
bro, you still got to have the ability to hit the ball. You could put Ronnie Coleman in his prime when he was super jacked up there at home plate, and he's not going to fucking jack balls. You got skinny guys that can stand there. Look at fucking Bellinger. Hit one the other day, 400 or something feet. He's a beanpole. You know what I mean? Same thing with pitching. If you got a big jack guy, you think like he can throw fast? No way, bro. These guys have arms like whips. They're athletes. You can't compare.
Yeah, steroids had nothing to do with.
Look at Darryl Strawberry, the sweetest swing on the planet, bro. Darryl Strawberry with that. When he was with the Mets and in his fucking prime, he just stood there and it looked like he just was like swatting like this, and that ball would be like monster gone, right?
Yeah.
First of all, there's two guys. Strawberry and Doc Gooden could have been maybe two best baseball players up there for the two best ever. Doc Gooden was 19 years old, and he was got struck out to like 20 people. And dude, the guy was unbelievable.
83 and 84, back rookie of the years.
Listen, Joe and I are friends with Kirk Radomski, okay, who wrote the book Bases Loaded, and he was the ball boy from the Mets who became eventually their juice dealer, okay. And he went to jail for dealing steroids in baseball. He was involved in the whole baseball scandal.
The whole Mitchell report.
The whole Mitchell report. He was involved in that. He was one of the guys who went to jail. And let me tell you something. When we worked with Patrick Arnold and what's his name there? Fucking, with the glasses there. We worked with him at MD. And, people don't realize that, these guys would tell Kirk Radomski's got the best stories. He would tell you how fucking, he'd be in a car and Darryl Strawberry and Doc Gooden would be like, yo, they would drive around, look for whores on the street. These guys are $1 million they're making, millions of dollars. $20 fucking whores. Like, yo, what's up? You want a blowjob? You want a blowjob? Yo, what's up? Dude, remember Darryl Strawberry getting caught because it was an undercover cop walking the street. and he propositioned her, $20, bro. You got fucking millions of dollars. You want to get a whore? Go get some hot fucking escort where you're laying. Get 2 of them where you're laying, but you could afford it.
Yeah, like Richard Gere and Pretty Woman there. You got,
Dude, get that, But the other thing is that, by the way, she's a liberal. I used to like her when she was young, but forget that.
Yeah.
Pretty Woman. But let me tell you something. Radomski used to tell us that they would bring chicks in the bullpen, underneath it, in the back, they'd be fucking around. The Mets were savages back in the mid-'80s.
Maniacs, that 80s.
But I loved it. Kevin Mitchell
great.
would be like high on meth and shit like that, and they'd say he would run around naked through the fucking hallways of the fucking want to beat everybody up and shit. Because he was a bad dude, Kevin Mitchell.
Oh yeah,
he was a
gangbang.
gangbanger.
Yeah.
Right?
Remember when Kirk told us that he didn't know the Statue of Liberty is in New York?
Dude, he's a gangbanger. You know what's funny? Those guys don't even know who some of them don't know who Mickey Mantle. You ask some of the Dominican players. Do you know who Babe Ruth is? No, I don't know.
Insane, right?
You don't know Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle. But meanwhile,
They're
they played a sport that those guys paved the way for. Dude, you remember Kevin Mitchell running in the outfield making that fucking barehanded catch?
Yeah, when he was with the Giants. Yep, 89.
I thought he was with the Mets when he did that. That wasn't the Mets.
No, he was traded to the Padres, and then the Padres traded him to the Giants.
Yeah, but I thought the barehanded catch was with the Mets.
No, that was with San Fran in the left field corner.
Dude, that was like, I remember seeing
wild.
it.
Yeah.
Dude, he ran like this. Said, fuck the glove. I used my hand. Dude, you know how that must have fucking hurt? Do you have any idea how that shit must have hurt?
David Wright made a barehanded catch when he was a rookie like that, but it was a pop-up.
Who did?
Like a David Wright. It was like a pop-up, a bloop kind of pop-up. But the one with Mitchell was cream to the
No, that was a line drive to the outfield.
Yeah.
Like he ran and fucking caught it like, like a football. Like you're catching a football. It was thrown over your head. That was crazy.
Yeah. No, he was he was a fucking the Mets. That was a good trade. They got Kevin McReynolds in the trade. So it wasn't like they gave up on it. McReynolds was one of the best outfielders in the National League at the time. So it was a good trade for the Mets, but they didn't realize Mitchell was going to go on to fucking be a bopper like that and win the MVP.
No, Mitchell was a gangbanger, a rough guy. See, the problem is a lot of these guys with their off-field antics, like according to, Radomski, he said, I used to be driving around, they would be like fucking snorting coke and get me this whore, do this, do that. They were crazy,
Yeah.
He has some great stories. I forget them all, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, he did have good. How's Suno working out? Oh, the program that Hugo de Claus did our theme on, I did a 30-second commercial that I created that's going to be played on ESPN radio.
Oh, okay, great.
You get the new issue in the mail. It's en route to you. You'll see a guy named Joe Wiz Sports wrote a column in there. He's a handicapper, sports betting guy. And he does a show on ESPN radio on weekends. And he told me,
Joe, hold on 1 second. Don't hang up. Hold on 1 second. I got to do that.
Go do it.
Hold on 1 second.
But I'll just I'll let you guys know. ESPN radio. He actually texted me while we were doing the show.
Okay. Yes.
Sounds like a bunch of distorted music. I'll text him back later. But yeah, they're gonna play it on ESPN radio, and I think WABC 770. But yeah, it's a new, I don't know if it's new, but it's new to me. Suno, S-U-N-O, and Hugo de Claus hooked me up. That's who did the theme of this very program. And I'm going to be using it a lot. I like it a lot. So you guys let us know. I know we got off on a little bit of a tangent with baseball. I hope we're not losing any of you maybe that aren't into that stuff, but with whatever you guys want to talk about, throw a comment on there and let me know, and we'll do that, because we'll probably wrap up in the next 10 minutes or so. It's about 4:30. We've been on an hour and a half. So if you guys want us to cover something that we have not, like maybe the upcoming Buckeye Barbell Classic, what do you say? I know you guys are very much into the competitive sport of men's fitness. What's the first woman that I ever pulled it to? Wow. That's a tough one. I'm going to guess the pretty girl from the old children's television program, The Magic Garden. Not the one that played the guitar, the one that just sang and sat on the swing. Hope to get to see you again. Ha. Hope you had a real good morning to you. Hope I get to lick your asshole again. Aha. I saw a pic today. I'll send an email. Can you just StreamYard to put it? Can you use StreamYard to put it on screen? No, because I have the two computers set up. And I'm doing the StreamYard off of the iMac, and I use the other one with the email and stuff. This I just have like a few programs on. But I can get it for next time. I can get it on. I guess I can put it on. I don't know. I gotta see because I can do like banners, like here. I can do that. You know, I don't know if I could do pictures, but I'm gonna try. Like I could change that, see how I'm doing that. Gregg and Joe MSTV. I probably can. I'd have to just figure it out. Hey, dude. Yeah, do it for do for Instagram, no problem. I do that off of that. But I set up the whole StreamYard because this is better seated where the lights are set up in the sprawling campuses. The dude, 1983. It was a very good year. Hey, Greg, I have a question. Oh, I'm not Greg. I just play one on television. I found out I'm pre-diabetic in the morning when I wake up. My blood sugars are in the $150s. Best advice, load up for again on meds. Thanks, Momo. Obviously, I will let Greg take that one because I have no idea. I would say rub one out. And if it doesn't help your blood sugar, well, at least you fucking feel good for a little bit. Yeah, pre-diabetic. That sucks, bro. Well, hopefully Greg has some kind of idea. I would say, what is your doctor saying? Definitely have your doctor give you, maybe he'll tell you to eat later, earlier. I don't know, probably low carb, but that's a given. Hugo Claus is saying. Yeah, that's that sucks, man. I live in a fucking house full of diabetics and it runs in my family. Why can't we super chat with this YouTube channel? I don't have that option. I don't know why. I don't know if it's some kind of you have to have X amount of time that you do the show before they add that to it. Like I've seen watching other guys' shows where it has the super chat, but mine doesn't have that option. And there's nothing on this program. I think only YouTube would be allowed to do that. And I haven't found anything to tell me how do I do it, but I will look it up. I will look it up. And if you guys send Greg money, I'm going to keep it. No. Of course, I'm joking. Hold on. Let me get the puppet. Pre-diabetic. That won't work for me since I'm in the lollipop boy. Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? By the way, you look like what does this say? A 1800 skeet shooter with that hat, if they even had skeet shooting back then. Oh, Jesus. This is my Italian hat. It's dark blue. Is that Greg's phone? I'm hearing bells. The Bells of St. Mary. Classic movie. This is coming to you live on television as we speak. All right, so I'll do it. Now back to Charlie Chan for you honeymooners fans. But yeah, I got to look into that super chat, Nick. How's the hair transplant? Well, it's a little messy now and it got flat, but you tell me, how's it looking? Thank you. I mean, I think the hairline's a lot better than it used to be. It used to be kind of back there, right, Oogs? It used to be a lot worse. I guess soon I could go hatless. I'm just like the back of the hair is still very thin. I'm gonna rub 2 out tomorrow. If you can do 2 in a day rubbing out, you are definitely a champion. I could not do that. I have trouble with 1.
I'm back.
To Italy. I didn't cancel it. I want to do it. I just don't know like when. Oh, Greg, there's a very good question
Go
that
ahead.
for you that the dude I have no idea how to answer it. And
I
it's
know who to do this. Yes. Okay. I
right.
found.
Diabetic in the morning, blood sugar's high in a buck and a half. How does he lower it before he has to start taking meds for it? Is there any advice that you have?
Well, the advice is it's very simple. You have to watch what you eat. That's what I do. You know, what I mean, if you're borderline or you're right there, if you're already a diabetic, you have to watch what you eat. You can't, to me, sugar is poison, and it's eventually, if you don't take care of it, it will destroy your liver, and basically that's what my father died from, was diabetes. Because what happens is you get cirrhosis of the liver, okay, and then you won't be able to come back from that. You know what I mean? Once cirrhosis is there, so liver can regenerate itself from anything, but not cirrhosis. Cirrhosis is like scarred, dead tissue, and it can't come back alive. So if you don't take care of your diabetes kills people, because they don't. There's some people who just, I have to have the bread, or I have to have the pasta, or I eat pasta, and I eat it once in a blue moon, but I have insulin, and I also take I have medicines that I'm supposed to, my doctor, I take metformin, I take Limiprid, and if it's over 170, I have to take insulin. And I don't take a lot, just, a couple I use, that's it, according to my doctor. So my best advice to you is, if you're really scared and you don't want problems with diabetes, stop eating fucking carbs, stop eating sugar, cut it down. At least keep it. If you're hitting the 150s, it's too high. It's way too high. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fasting obviously in the morning too. So maybe my guess was eat earlier.
If he's fat, wait, is he fat? Did he say he's fasting and it's 150?
Well, he's in the morning when he first wakes up. So
and it's 150.
It's in the 150s at his first.
Dude, I'm a diabetic, and mine's, if it's bad, if it's high, it's like 130, 120 something. Yeah. I usually wake up in the morning. I think mine today was 101.
Really?
Yeah, because I take metformin and Limiprid. I take it before I go to bed.
Leave it overnight.
Yeah, you must be eating shit. Plus, when you go to bed, your sugar, I forgot the reason why. There's a reason that your sugar levels go up. I forgot what the hell the reason is. My brain is shot. But you're going to get a little higher reading in the mornings. It's some overnight, your body does something, creates sugar, whatever. I forgot why. But the bottom line is, it shouldn't be that much. If it's 150, if you're fasting, sugar's 150, you're in trouble. You better get your shit.
Definitely go to the doctor. That's why I said
you have to stop avoiding medicine. Stop avoiding. If you're fucking sick, you take them, but that's not gonna hurt you. Don't believe all this shit. Don't take metformin. Don't take Limiprid. Don't believe that shit. You're gonna if you try to do it. Yeah, man. I don't think you guys realize that if you have trouble, first of all, anything can turn into sugar. Okay, you can eat whale blubber, and it can become sugar in you.
Alcohol.
Look at you. Oh, alcohol's really
immediately.
That's how you make sugar. I mean, alcohol's made. You throw sugar and yeast in there, and it fucking, it shits it out into alcohol. But the thing is, what about cultures like Eskimos, right? That live on nothing but meat and blubber and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. They have they blubber. They don't eat sugar, but yet they still have sugar in their body. Your body will make glucose. It can make it out of bacon. It could do anything. So if you have trouble, you have to take the medicine. It's a disease. It's not like it's just going to go away. You're watching too many YouTube videos. I don't need to take my metformin anymore because bullshit.
Holistic medicine. Yeah, you think it away.
Holistic. It's not. It's a disease. You can't. It doesn't just reverse itself. That's all bullshit. You know what I mean?
Go to the doctor and find out. But like Greg's saying, it could be just a diet related thing where
it could be. If you're fasting and you're sleeping overnight and it's that high, that's not fasting. That's not a fasting sugar.
Yeah. I'm assuming he's fasting only because he said it was first thing in the morning. So
that's bad. That's high. That's too high. You got diabetes.
Why did I stop dyeing my hair? I can't dye it till 12 months after the transplant, which is October. So I have to wait till I can dye it. I dye it after 12 months. I don't want to fuck up the hair plugs.
Oh, yeah.
Canadian election coming up. I thought that they got a new leader. Didn't that fucking
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Didn't he step down? Fucking Trudeau there.
Yeah, I thought that he did. He's not the same leader. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah,
see. I don't know what the hell.
Another guy that was threatening Trump with
Lou, will you
tariffs.
take that fucking phone out of here?
Greg, hypothetically, if you ate 20 candy bars right now, what would medically happen?
If I ate them,
20 candy bars, what would happen? Your
Who is
sugar
it?
would explode.
I'm sorry, Judd. It's the state. Hold on one
You
second.
gotta go take care of that. Do it.
Hold on, go right there. What?
You do snack at night. Okay. That would be to me, and I am far from a fucking doctor. But just knowing being married to a diabetic and having 2 kids that are the same, I know from just my wife telling me over the years, oh, I need to like take extra insulin because we're going out to dinner later. I got to stop that shit eating at night. That's dude 83. That's definitely going to help, but don't fucking just do that on your own. Go to the doctor. The last thing they want to do is start you on medicine. Sometimes they want to start you on medicine because they get kickbacks also. You got to find a good doctor like my guy, Dr. Sal. He won't just put you on. I don't want to just give you a pill to give you a pill. That's what he told me. I said, I know, but I need it for my cock. Yeah, but definitely have your doctor. Try pork rinds and stuff like that instead of chips. What do you want? Grape soda for breakfast too? What the fuck, bro? You know that the political people eat pork rinds. Oh, shit. Oh, pork rinds are disgusting. Oh my God. I remember when we were kids, like it would be like a dare to fucking eat one of them. And then you'd have guys that like it, or chicken grinds. If you're gonna eat pork rinds, are you really worried about fucking calories? What's got more fat and content? It's just baked in Earl. Peanut butter is my weakness. I got you there, bro. I'm with you there. I mean, peanut butter is. I do like the creamy over crunchy. Creamy over crunchy for me. I don't like it on sandwiches. I like just to put a spoon in it and just fucking go to town. A pork on disgusting thing, but the ones with the fat stripe. Yes, there's another version. Well, pork rinds is infamous for a certain. How should I put this gently? Prime ministers. They're famous. Like the Cheetos and. The Cheetos and the orange soda and all of that other stuff. But yeah, peanut butter is I buy the natural peanut butter, like it's gonna be less fattening. I think it's got 1 less gram of fat per fucking tablespoon, and I eat like half the jar. Are you overweight by chance? And if you're overweight and your sugars are high, you're going to probably need to drop it. And then definitely before, or they're going to just put you on the metformin. Sounds like Santa Claus coming to town. Did Greg step in some Christmas bells? Chris, is pussy low carb? It doesn't matter. It could be fucking poison and we'd still eat it. My pussy is poison. Only problem with peanut butter is when you get the kind that sticks to the roof of your mouth. Yeah, and then you're like, and then it's on your finger, and then you wipe it on your shirt, and then you roll over.
Sorry, Joe. Oh my God.
That's all right. We wanted to see if Santa Claus was coming to town.
Now I'm good. Everything's good.
We wanted to see if Santa Claus was coming to town.
Santa Claus.
Nick has a question about bodybuilders. The most avoidable death. Which one out of these 3? Piana, Don Youngblood, or Makava?
Ooh. I mean, Piana knew. I don't know Youngblood's situation. I know who he is. I know he died.
Yeah, I'm not
Um,
sure how exactly. Yeah, he's an
Tiana,
older guy.
I know Rich's girlfriend was a good friend of mine. You know what I mean? Chanel, you know her, Joe.
Sure, yeah.
He kind of knew he had a little bit of heart problem and everything. So, you know, and these guys, they all party too. See, that's the problem. I don't know about Youngblood partying. I know that Rich did things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Rich's might have been able. Dallas McCarver too. The Dallas was young, but he had a heart like
It was more with the insulin and shit like that.
yeah. You can't do
Probably with McCarver. I'm just
listen.
speculating. I
You
don't know.
guys got to understand something, okay? You have to understand this. If you're not competing, all right. First of all, you shouldn't be really. You know, you could take the babanya, but just take it responsibly. Don't go crazy with it. You know, well, the trend and this. There's no such thing as trend. It's the. I mean, what you guys know is trend is somebody home brewed that shit. Okay, you know, there's no pharmacy on the planet that you can go in and say yes. Can I get some Trembling? You know, I have a prescription here. It doesn't. There's no
It
such thing.
doesn't exist. Yeah.
Right. It's all made from cartridges and they melt it down, you know, the whole bit. I don't know the exact process. But what you guys don't understand is most guys that take the Babanya, a lot of you guys watching this, maybe you take it. Most of you don't compete, okay? And to walk around to be Mr. Mall or, you know, big, you know, BMOC, which means big man on campus, that's fine. But you don't need to go crazy. These guys here have a short shelf life, okay? You'll see them. You know, I don't want to throw names, Nick Walker, guys like that. But and you see these guys and they're fucking jacked and you're like thinking like, oh, rip out your neck and shit down the hall. But 5 years from now, look at that. There you go. See, I don't have to say what. But how long is that guy going to look like that? And then when he's done bodybuilding, you're going to say, holy fuck, man. He's like Pee Wee Herman. You know what I mean? Like I've seen guys that like, you know, I saw, you know, it's like, I don't like throwing names, but what I'm saying is, okay, you don't understand. You don't need to go crazy if you're not competing. And if you are competing, you have to basically pray to God that you can get through that because the amount of drugs they use. Listen, do you know that I know a lot of the old school guys, and in Arnold's day, those guys weren't on steroids all year round. You know that, right? When you saw Arnold walk in, yes, I want to put on that little muscle with it 100 days, 101 days till you know, I'm pumping iron, right? Till the Mr. Olympia. He wasn't on stuff. Danny Padilla would go on 3 months out of the year, 4 months out of the year. I know this for a fact. I'm just telling you. Those guys cycled. I remember when in the early 80s when Rich Gaspari was going, you know, was training with Lee Haney because they were buddies for a while.
Lived with him for a little while.
You're right. They would live together, right? And Gaspari was the first one I remember saying, well, you never go off. What? Wait, what? You always heard that, you know, 12 weeks on, 12 weeks off, you know, shit like that. You always heard that. Now there's no such thing as going off. With these guys stay on. You can't be on that for years and years and years and years and not, you know, not get problems. You understand? It's different if some of you guys here watching are on TRT. You know, I'm on TRT, but I've gone off because I've had surgeries and you can't be on that shit when you have surgeries. But the thing is, I go off and I do, you know, 200 milligrams once every 10 days. But I also took fucking a lot of steroids. So my own testosterone destroyed from that. You know what I mean? So I have to, but that's not, I don't notice any size gains or any, I notice I feel better. That's pretty much it. The Picho Ligado is ready to go. The joint pain is not there. 200 milligrams. It's almost like saying, Joe, you can have 1 beer a day. Joe can drink a beer and he's fine. A glass of wine, he's fine. It's when you start drinking 20 beers a day. You know, 200 milligrams is doable. That's what the doctor would give you. You start taking 4, 5, 6, 7, or do what I did, take 6,000. You're gonna have trouble. Okay, so I took 6,000. I'm not gonna lie. But the thing is, and I'm not putting a babanya down. But you know, once you abuse it, you know, it becomes trouble. Now these guys are all on massive drugs. Has the human being evolved? Lee Priest, who looked phenomenal, right, in his day, he weighed like 198. Do you understand that? I oiled up because he did the show for me. Lee Labrada. Lee Labrada was like 191, 192. Looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
Today, that size, that, you know, you wouldn't they did away with the 202 class because the guys are so big today that nobody could make 202.
They couldn't
Even
fucking
short
hold it.
guys, right? Short guys have trouble making the 212.
Yeah.
Okay. A guy 5 foot fucking whatever, and short, even mine, I'm 5'6". I might have shrunk, I don't know, but because I'm older. But I mean, like, I'm 5'6" is what I've been my whole life. Dude, to weigh 200, I weighed 278 pounds at one time. It's too much. I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
It's not good. You can't stay like that. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
the point
Yeah.
I'm trying to make is what you guys don't understand is that the human being hasn't evolved since Lee Priest or since Lee Labrada or Sean Ray, who was also only 198. Sean
Yep.
Ray was 198. Bodybuilding hasn't evolved since those guys were competing. What's happened is the drugs have changed. Okay, these guys are taking massive amounts of insulin. Corona. Anyway, what happened is, by the way, I cough because my throat's not normal from the surgery. Sometimes your own saliva, it goes down the wrong pipe. But what I'm trying to say to you is that nobody understands that these guys today are taking. Look, Joe. Look at the fucking girls today. There's Russian chicks got like 21-inch arms. You see these girls, and they're so fucking big. They're as big as some of the bodybuilders from back in the day, some of the male bodybuilders, because the drug use is astronomically insane today. Take as much and whatever you can. You know what I mean? And then you got these young kids. Like I just did a video on my Instagram and shit, and on YouTube. On my channel, and I said how, like, young kids are asking me in the gym, like, what would be a good first cycle? And I'm like, dude, you're 16, 17 years old. Masturbate. That's your best side. Masturbate. Get that testosterone going and flowing.
Yeah.
You don't need testosterone when you're young. And then, after I tell them don't do all the drugs and all this shit, because, there's always a kid in high school who's jacked. I said, don't worry about it. When he goes off, watch what he's going to look like.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know what they asked me, Joe? You know what their question now is? Well, what about SARMs? And I'm like, dude,
stop.
First of all, listen to me. All the pro bodybuilders I know, the Mr. Olympia guys, are not doing SARMs. Okay, none of them. They're not doing. Dude, they're doing the heavy duty shit. Okay, number one. Number two, SARMs. I don't care what anybody says, are hard on your liver. Do you understand that? So when you're watching all the YouTube channels and you're watching all these guys, they're all fucking full of shit. Do you understand that? You're going to get fucking trouble. It's hard on your body. SARMs, anything oral is, dude, take too many fucking Tylenols and your fucking liver's in trouble. Yep. Do you understand that?
Or get broken down and processed by the liver. Any oral medication.
Joe, there's people who try to commit suicide by taking a whole bottle of Tylenol. You know what happens? Their liver explodes. You know what I'm saying? And you know what they do to give them in the hospital? They give them IV NAC, and that counteracts, that.
IV what?
NAC, NEC, N-acetylcysteine. This right here. I'll show it to you. Right here. This is very good. Everybody takes it. I take it. Lee takes it. It's NAC, okay? It's good for your liver. NAC, N-acetylcysteine, okay? But they give it to you IV when you like overdose on Tylenol. Now, what I'm trying to tell you guys is that these guys, I know, I've been around these guys for a long time, and the difference with these guys today, everybody is super jacked today. Everybody. I mean, you look at the Olympia lineup, and every single one of them are way bigger than they're bigger than Ronnie. My God, they're all fucking huge. They're not as tall as Ronnie, but they're so fucking, why? Because they're all doing so much shit. It's not funny. And the bodybuilding, the governing sport of bodybuilding doesn't do anything to stop this. They allow it because you guys like freak out over it. And meanwhile, these guys do a double bicep and then the most muscular, and they're breathing like this. So you guys look at that as like that's superhuman. It's not. You forfeit your athletic ability to do that. Okay. If they ever got in a fight, if they don't knock you out or kill you within the first 10 seconds, they're done. Do you understand what I'm saying? And just because the guy's got big arms or whatever doesn't mean he can knock you out. What I'm trying to tell you is that you're looking at these guys. The drugs today, there's a drug for every process of the body. There's drugs to stimulate your appetite. There's drugs to stop cortisone. There's stuff to fucking, push your thyroid. Got thyroid, like, excitement. And then there's stuff to stimulate more. They'll take they'll like a thyroid stimulator. They take stuff to stop, to promote, your growth hormone, IGF. There's so many different processes of the body. The cytodrin stops cortisol. I'm just saying, all these things you add, you're adding a fucking brew of chemicals. And yes, they look like a fucking monster, but how come you got girls? There's a girl who just died who was 20 something years old, like 24, 25. There's 21-year-olds. There's even teen bodybuilders who've died. Why? As much as the bodybuilding community is like, no, it's not from steroids. You can't do all those chemicals and expect
From something.
Right.
Even if it's not the steroid, it might be the diuretic. It's something that they're doing that's
Joe,
more than the norm back in years ago.
Oh, way more than it. Joe, you know what? Look, I actually think I like the kid Sam Salik. He's a nice kid. Okay. I like what, I see what he's doing. Okay. I like it. He's going after his dream. He cut the hair. He didn't give a shit about everybody, because the hair was his thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think his physique is, the greatest, but that's neither here nor there. But the thing is, he came out of nowhere, for COVID, you start working out and you get a little, get the Babani to start training in 2020. And he's already been a thing for the last 2 years. So let's say from 2003, in 3 years time, and it's not because of God-given genetics or fucking working out really, really hard. It's because the drug use is through the ceiling.
Yeah.
It takes you a while, okay, to get like that. Ronnie Coleman, it took him 10, 15 years. He was placing fucking last.
Yeah.
In all the pro shows. I'm just telling you, you don't just gain. Whenever you hear guys that fucking came out of nowhere and all of a sudden a couple of years ago they were the average Joe and now all of a sudden they're super jack bodybuilder, it's because they're taking, Rich Piana, whatever it takes. And that mentality is not always the best mentality.
No, it certainly is not. And this is a good point by Egregious here. Trend is awful shit. I remember farm boys in my town getting the Phenoplex pellets from the farm and feed stores to make the home brews. Greg, I actually, many years ago, made my own home brew trend with Phenoplex horse pellets.
Yes.
To get the site, there was a site that was out that used to tell you step by step, and you can even order the kit with the coffee filters.
I remember that, with the coffee filters, yes.
Yeah. Dude, I did it just this. I didn't give, if I wanted trend, I could have got trend from somebody in the gym or whatever.
Right.
I just wanted to see if I could fucking do it, create my own, just for the fuck of it. I did it once and that was it. It worked. It was a little harsh. It was a little, burny a little, but trend does that to you. It's not, I mean, we've both used it a few times and I know you're not big on it. I only have tried it twice, I think, besides this time, 3 altogether, probably. It's if it's supposed to make a horse bigger and faster, and it's probably not good for us.
Listen, it's toxic. It's definitely
horrible.
A toxic drug.
They took that off the market now. Those horse pellets.
But look,
guys were using them for
right,
fucking.
But you know what though, Joe? Listen. After all the baseball shit and all the stuff, they said steroids were going to be harder to get, and they're everywhere now. I mean, it's more. Everybody's taking it. Every sport's taking it. We're producing fucking super athletes. It just, I mean, I don't know how much bigger can a guy get though. I mean, these guys can't move right. The really super jacked guys are not fucking running. Put them on a track. Let them run. Let them hit a baseball. Put them on a football field. If that was so great, then you'd see a lot more guys super jacked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you definitely. It doesn't make you athletic at all. Vanessa has a good one. Greg, you should let Joe taste Lee Haney's pasta. What is that? You still have pasta left over from Lee Haney? Was there?
No, we were joking around, me and Lee. Everybody believed, that Lee was like, because I made Lee pasta. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember the pictures.
I told him that's the pasta I gave Lee. Now, Lee Haney was at my house. He stayed here for 3 days, and it was 1987. That was 87. So that pasta would be fucking 40 fucking years old.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
How frozen you had it. That shit would be fucking
It's like in The Sopranos when Bobby Bacala had the wife's frozen fucking ziti before she died. And he didn't want to eat it because she got killed in the car wreck. But Janice fucking made him eat it.
Janice was great. I love
She was a fucking
she was worse. She was more psycho than fucking
Tony.
her brother. Yeah. But Did you? By the way, did you ever see the movie? There's a movie where it's how they became who they are. Did you ever see that? They use Gandolfini's son as, I think, the star of the movie. Do you know
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
talking
the
about?
Many Saints of Newark. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. No, I saw it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
I
But
mean, it was a little bit of a disappointment
yeah,
for the
yeah,
Sopranos
you can never touch
aficionado,
that
but
show, dude. You never touch. It's
it's
like the
yeah.
Scarface. What we thought. You're never gonna touch that show.
I
That show.
liked it, but I thought they could have done a heck of a lot better. Oh, here's Juggernauts is from Canada, so he's giving us the info that we weren't sure of. This is good to know then. Carney is the new Liberal Party leader. That's the guy that took Trudeau's spot. Federal elections at the end of April, hoping for a conservative majority government here in Canada.
Oh, wait a minute.
Both Juggernauts, even though I'm not.
Let me ask you a question though. Who was the guy? I love this guy from Canada. The guy that was like the reporter was talking to him and he was eating the apple and they're asking him, so like, did you say this?
I saw that clip.
Who said
yeah.
I said it? You know, what? Why do you ask? You know, what proof do you have? But like, he just kept going, like no matter what you said to him, you know, when
Yeah.
you say, well, they say, well, who's they? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You got to tell
I
me who
think
they
he
is.
might. Maybe he's the conservative.
I think he's the guy
party
that I would love to see that guy win. He's good.
Did you see they are putting Marie Le Pen, the conservative French lady, in jail for embezzlement of political funds. They're just like they tried to put Trump.
Do with Trump.
They
They
really,
got the-
she was leading the fucking the polls big in France.
Well, what about what did
And they put
what
her in
did
jail 5 years.
what did Putin do? What did Putin do? He took his opposition, put him in jail, and the guy died in jail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? They
Yeah.
tried to kill that guy was like Rasputin. They tried to kill him 20 times. He was poisoned, fucking, you know, they did all kinds of shit to him except for throw him in the river. Like they did, you know, Rasputin, they did all, he didn't drown, he died of hypothermia in the river. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is, yeah, I mean, that's bad. If you people allow this shit to happen, even if you listen, I understand, even if you're Democrat and you have some liberal thought, I have some liberal thoughts. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a
Yeah.
shit if you're gay, if that's
Abortions
what you
and
want to be,
stuff.
whatever you want to trans.
Yeah.
I don't give two shits. I don't give two shits.
Marriage.
As long
Yeah,
as it
I
doesn't
like that
affect
too.
me. You know what I mean? As long as it doesn't affect me.
Yep,
You know, I
same.
don't really believe in abortion. I say, how about, you know, take it up the ass or
3
in the
months.
mouth. You know what I mean?
I'm a 3-month guy. Certain
If it's going to
first
be in that,
trimester.
right? If it's going to happen, it's got to be in the first. But you can't do no mid to the moment of birth.
Can't
Come
kill
on,
a
stop
fucking
that shit.
baby. No.
You know,
it's
And
disgusting.
I do believe in, you know, I do believe in the death penalty, though. You can't keep, listen, let me tell you something. Even about God, you know, I'm not trying to get, listen, look, I wear rosary beads, okay? I'm actually a pretty religious guy, but I don't push it on people. But I want you to know, I'm spiritual. That's what I should say. Because most religion to me is bullshit. But let me just tell you something, okay? When they say that God forgives all, like you get some guy that put girls on a meat hook and is fucking, you know, I think he was from Canada, the pig farmer or whatever, right? The pig farmer where he's fucking going around collecting girls and killing them and putting them on meat hooks on his farm and then fucking doing the sickest shit. You know, like 30, 40, 50 girls, right? Then you go to prison and then you find God, right?
Yeah.
Listen to me. Let me tell you something, okay? Don't believe for 1 second that God forgives everybody. He doesn't. That's
Can't.
bullshit. God forgives sinners, doesn't forgive heinous criminals. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Okay, because I can tell you this much. My mother loved me, right? You know, but if I went out and I did something stupid, like sell steroids, but she was already dead, so she didn't know. But what I'm just saying is, like, if she was alive when I got, you know, in trouble for the steroids, she would have been like, you dumb, stupid bastard. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
stupid son of a bitch.
She would have hit you with the spoon.
Right, but she wouldn't like unlove me or want to see like harm come to me. But if she found out that I was killing girls and putting them on meat hooks, she may say that's my son, and I do love him. But you know what? He needs to fucking be punished. And you know, like she used to tell me, if you do something fucked up and you go to jail, I'm not. You know, don't ever ask us to bail you out. You're done.
Oh,
You
my wife
understand?
always tells me that.
All right. So, but you know what I'm saying, Joe? There's a big difference. You know what I mean? Saying like, I believe that, you know, even if God loves all people and all that shit, but if you fucking betray and you do certain things that are heinous, you know, rape, murder,
You're going to hell.
God's not going to say, oh, wait a minute, you said you're sorry. Oh, come on in. He doesn't do that shit. He says, oh, I'm glad you're sorry. I'm glad you know you did a mistake.
Yeah.
Bye, bitch. You know what I mean? Like, don't let that door hit you in the ass on the way down. And that's
If
I don't
God
believe that he
forgives
forgives
all,
everybody.
who's in hell then?
Right. There you go. 'Cause
Somebody's
everybody
going.
was-
Yeah.
That's a good one, Joe, because it's
Yeah.
true. Everybody be like, if you're standing before God, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. You bullshit.
Yeah, look at
You know?
Tex Watson. Tex Watson became like a minister in jail, born again Christian. The
Oh
Charles
yeah, dude,
Manson guy
all those.
who
There's
did
a
all the
lot of-
fucking real disgusting fucking murders and shit. He
Dude,
was the
what
main
about the-
guy.
What about the fucking? I don't know if you know the story, but I forgot the whole story. But it's some Italian guy who raped some young girl, that killed her, and all this shit, and they put him in jail. And then in jail, he said she appeared to him and told him she forgives him. So now he found God, and he became a preacher. And I think he came out of. They let him out of jail, and he became some sort of like fucking preacher where they wanted to make him a saint. Bullshit.
Fuck him.
Bullshit. Okay, a lot of these saints
That-
they're only
that-
saints because we make them saints. That doesn't mean that God fucking sees them in the same way
Yeah.
we do. You know what I mean? Give me a break with that
Nobody's
shit.
forgiving that.
They don't forgive that shit. My mother would never forgive that with me. She'd be like, you know what? Then you need to spend the rest of your life in jail because if you get out, I'm going to kill you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's the way my mother. You got to understand how Italian mothers were. My mother grew up in the South Bronx. You know what I mean? Fist fighting her stepfather her whole life. You know, so she was. My mother could hang and bang if she needed to. She didn't give a shit. She would punch you in the face if the cops came. She'd go, you know what? You won't go home with a smile. You're gonna know a woman fucking smacked you in the face, or she was tough like that. My mother would have been like, keep him in jail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I made a bad
Give 'em a
batch.
lesson.
Right. It's almost like if your wife makes a bad batch of brownies or burnt the gravy or something like that, and you taste it like, oh, Maron, this is you burnt the gravy. It's not the And she'd be like, okay, it's a bad batch. We got to throw this batch out. I'll make a new one. You understand? It's I think
Yeah.
God would say, you're from the bad batch. We got to throw you out. So that's the way I believe. So
Oh, I see it there. I see you with that. Greg, I gotta punch out because I gotta piss and I don't have a Tide bottle here. So
I'm sorry I had to run get that phone. That
No,
was
I need to be prepared. I need to have the almighty Greg Valentino approved Tide piss bottle for fucking the podcast piss container.
You don't know how many times during the New York show I'm down here and I'm just talking like this, and the picture of God's like just
Fluffing
letting
it up
go.
while you're there.
That's right. She has to realize I'm doing a show with you now, so she's got to leave the bucket here. You know what I mean?
Fucking playing the maracas down there.
Because otherwise she'll be like, oh shit. We'll leave the pee in the bucket. She'll be like, oh shit, I left the soap over here. Let me go down and pour it on the laundry. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, the snuggle bear. Oh, guys, thank you so much for watching
thank you, guys.
today's episode of the Gregg and Joe Show. We will be back next week, every Wednesday, right here on MuscleSport TV, YouTube Live. Greg, as always, great job.
Great job, Joe. And as Chuck Ferris used to say, we'll be back next week with more stuff. Remember? We'll be back with more stuff.
The Gong Show, baby.
Yeah, right.
See you guys next week.
I'll talk
Bye-bye.
to you. All right, guys.